Chapter 447. Damn it, damn it. Seeing so many of his companions die, the leader of the wind-chasing bandits, Kogao, could not take it anymore. His expression turned sinister as he glared at Xiaoping. I've really misjudged you, but you've killed so many of my companions. You must die. You must die. Royal martial technique. Phantom wind saber technique. With a boom, Kogao drew his saber and slashed at Xiaoping. The quintessential essence of a fourth-layer martial master burst out from his body, shaking the entire village. He brandished his saber. His entire body seemed to have become the center of a tornado. Countless air currents were controlled by his power and gathered at the tip of the saber. In the blink of an eye, countless air currents condensed into small saber chi. They were indestructible. Indistinctly, the cries of evil spirits could be heard in the air. The people at the side could see wisps of black aura surging out from Kogao's body. It was extremely evil, horrifying, and vicious. Once an ordinary person came into contact with it, even their mental power would be contaminated. The ground was cut by the wind blades and immediately shattered. Countless cracks appeared and crushed stones flew in all directions like a spider web, densely distributed in all directions. Snapping sounds rang out. Xiaoping's eyes revealed a cold gleam. He took a step forward and punched out. Immovable Buddha's palm. This palm was many times stronger than when he was in the martial disciple realm. Quintessential essence condensed into a huge golden palm. It looked like it was made of gold and was extremely heavy. The lines on the golden palm seemed to be extremely clear at this moment. Each line contained a trace of Buddha's power and emitted waves of Buddha's Sanskrit. Rings of dark red flames even appeared around the golden palm. The holy and evil powers intertwined, like the fusion of Buddha's power and demon's power. It contained an unparalleled might. Damn it! What kind of power is this? Kogao was shocked. He was clearly an expert of the fourth-layer martial master. His opponent was at most a second-layer martial master. In terms of martial realm and quintessential essence, he should be stronger. However, this palm strike contained an irresistible mental power. It came crashing down like a tidal wave, causing his soul to experience terrifying hallucinations. He felt that his opponent was not a human, but a ruler of hell. It carried the power of judgment and wanted to send him to the 18th layer of hell to suffer for eternity. Dong! With a slap of his palm, the countless blade auras in front of him were instantly torn apart, shattering the wind blades inch by inch. Even the huge blade in Bandit's hand was shaken into a pile of scrap iron by this tyrannical force. Kogao let out a blood-curdling screech. His entire body was sent flying by this force. In an instant, he was sent flying for dozens of meters before smashing into a mountain wall in the distance. Immediately, a huge palm print with a diameter of more than 10 meters appeared on the huge mountain wall. Flames burned the surrounding rocks, turning them into a large amount of lava. Just like that, Kogao was slammed against the mountain wall like a fly. He couldn't help but spit out a large mouthful of blood. His internal organs were severely injured, and his combat power was reduced by more than half. It can't be. The remaining Windchaser bandits were terrified. Originally, they thought that their boss would be able to deal with this arrogant brat. However, they didn't expect that they wouldn't even be a match for a single move from this brat. With just one palm, Xiao Chun smashed their boss, Kogao, into the wall like a mosquito. If not for the strong life force of a martial master and the toughness of his bones, he would have been smashed to death long ago. It could be said that this kind of strength was extremely terrifying. When the surrounding Windchaser bandits felt Xia Ping's aura, they all trembled in fear. This kind of aura was like that of a demonic god. None of them were a match for this brat. With a plop, a bald man immediately knelt on the ground towards Xia Ping. He cried bitterly and begged for mercy. "Hero, please spare us. Please spare our lowly lives." Actually, it's not that we wanted to be bandits. We were forced to do so by this world. To think that I used to be a good citizen who knew my place and was conscientious in my work. However, my boss, who was a son of a bitch, beat me and scolded me every day. He treated me like a dog and maliciously deducted my wages. What's worse was that he seduced my wife and made me a cuckold. Thus, in a fit of rage, on a dark and windy night, I killed the adulterous couple. That's why I had no choice but to run away and become a bandit. The reason why I went around robbing merchant groups was to make a living. We are essentially good people. If you can spare our lives, we will definitely know our place and never come out to do bad things again. He continuously kowtowed until his forehead was bleeding. He looked extremely pitiful, hoping that Xia Ping would spare his lowly life. Bang! Before he could finish his words, Xia Ping slapped him. A tyrannical force exploded, instantly smashing the bald man's head into smithereens. His internal organs were also shattered. The terrifying flames engulfed the bald man's body in an instant. In just a few breaths, the bald man's corpse was burned to ashes. F***, are you still human? One of the Windchaser bandits shouted. Didn't you see how pitiful he was? He was beaten, scolded, and even made a cuckold. He had no choice but to become a bandit. You didn't even intend to listen to him and just killed him with a slap. Do you still have a conscience? The surrounding Windchaser bandits' faces turned green. They had thought that this brat was a student and had a conscience. Perhaps he would have some sympathy for them. As long as he said some bitter words, he would be able to live. At the very least, he would have hesitated in his heart. This would give them a chance to escape. After all, some students with a sense of justice would do that. But who would have thought that this bastard was cold-blooded and heartless? He didn't even intend to listen to them, and just killed the bald man with a slap. It was clean and neat. He was even more vicious than them. One could totally imagine that the brainless look he had in Western Wilderness City was definitely an act. This kind of acting was enough to win the title of Best Actor. What does it have to do with me? Xiaoping looked at the ashes on the ground and said, I don't care what grievances you have. I just accepted a mission to kill you. That's all. If you have grievances and are unhappy, go complain to Hades. That's his job. This bald man had a tragic life and died unjustly. But were those who were killed by the Windchaser bandits wronged? Were they worthy of sympathy? Just because he had a pitiful life, everything he did was right, and everything he said was right. What a joke. How could there be such logic in this world? He couldn't be bothered with who was right and who was wrong. Those who blocked his path should all die. That was all. This bastard. Chapter 448. All right, all of you go on your way. Xiaoping's eyes flashed with a cold light. He circulated the true yuan in his body, and instantly, a huge flame appeared in the surroundings, filling up the surrounding space. In just a few breaths of time, the space had become incomparably hot. One by one, the flames flew out and landed on the bodies of the surrounding wind-chasing bandits. With a loud bang, the wind-chasing bandits were unable to resist and were instantly hit by the flames. Immediately, their bodies were incinerated by the flames. In just a few breaths of time, they were all burned to ashes. Damn monster! After killing more than a dozen wind-chasing bandits in an instant, the remaining wind-chasing bandits were all incomparably terrified. Their hearts were filled with a large amount of cold air. Their opponent's qigong was too terrifying. Ordinary methods would not be able to withstand it. If this kid wanted to kill them, it was only a matter of time. If you want us to die, you can go ahead and die first. All of a sudden, an angry roar came from afar. Ko Gao, who was originally lying on the mountain wall, unable to move, suddenly crawled out of the pit of rocks. His body was covered with a large amount of blood. He stared at Xia Ping with a ferocious expression. He came to a wall and pressed his hand on a protruding rock. With a bang, he pressed hard, and immediately, cracking sounds could be heard. It's over. Boss has activated the self-destruct switch here. Seeing this, the group of wind-chasing bandits immediately fell into despair. They knew that Ko Gao was no match for Xia Ping, so they wanted to use the mechanism here to kill him. Rumble. At this moment, the ceiling immediately split open, and huge rocks fell from the sky. Each of them was as tall as a person and weighed over 100 tons. They fell from the sky like meteors crashing into the ground, carrying with them a terrifying might. With so many rocks falling, even a martial master would be smashed in a meat paste. Ko Gao and the others seemed to be prepared for this. They headed toward a hole that suddenly split open in front of them and immediately dove into it. Soon, they disappeared from the hall. However, the other wind-chasing bandits could not make it in time. Huge rocks fell and smashed into their bodies. Instantly, they let out miserable screams like pigs being slaughtered. With a few bangs, they were smashed into meat paste, losing all signs of life. Four Seasons sword art, continuous spring rain. Xia Ping made his move in an instant. He grasped his chi into a sword, and a majestic sword chi instantly burst out, condensing into a large number of sword chi lines, like a spring rain line. Streams of sword chi interweave together like a spider weaving a web, forming a huge sword chi net that instantly blasted towards the rock above. With a boom, the huge rock falling from the sky was shattered by the powerful sword chi. It split into pieces and scattered in all directions. At the same time, he drew on his energy arts, causing flames to spring up that burned the rubble that had fallen to the ground into molten lava. Sizzling sounds could be heard as smoke rose up into the air. At this moment, all the rocks fell from the sky. Other than the area where Xia Ping was, the other areas were covered by huge rocks. There was no gap at all. The wind chaser bandits who didn't escape in time were smashed into meat paste by these rocks. Don't even think of running. Xia Ping threw a punch at the entrance of the underground tunnel. With a loud bang, several rocks in front of him were instantly smashed open, creating a huge hole. Immediately, a dark hole appeared in front of him, faintly emitting a faint light. No one knew where it led to. With a whoosh, without saying anything, he used the Kuan Peng steps to control the airflow. His whole body was like a big bird, extremely fast, and he immediately chased after the wind chaser bandits. The tunnel continued to extend. It seemed to have been hollowed out by the wind chaser bandits. The surrounding stone walls were equipped with electric lamps, emitting a faint light. In a few breaths, Xia Ping caught up with the fleeing wind chaser bandits. No way, that brat didn't die. How is this possible? So many rocks fell down. How did this brat not die? Does he have copper skin and iron bones? Are you kidding me? Is he really a monster? Run, we can't stay here. We'll die if we do. Who is it? Which idiot invited the wolf into the house? He actually attracted this monster to our place. He wants to kill all of us. Now we're all finished. How is this brat a spoiled brat? How is he an idiot? He's clearly a murderer, 100 times crueler than us wind chaser bandits who kill people like flies. Some of the wind chaser bandits immediately noticed that Xia Ping was chasing after them. They were extremely afraid. If even this kind of trap couldn't kill this spoiled brat, then how could they kill this monster? They completely lost the courage to fight Xia Ping and fled into the distance. As for the leader of the wind chaser bandits, Ko Gao, his face was deathly pale. He ran for his life, wishing that his parents could give him more legs. Myriad Beast's fists, third style, bear splitting palm. Xia Ping slapped out with his palm, like a ferocious bear coming out of the mountains. A terrifying Zhen Yuan palm came crashing down, piercing through the air and vibrating thousands of times. The surrounding air seemed to be filled with mercury. Bang, bang, bang. The wind chaser bandits' Zhen Qi protective layer was immediately shattered by this tyrannical force. The terrifying force passed through their bodies, and in an instant, their internal organs were shattered. Puff! All of them puked out a huge amount of blood and fell onto the ground dead. Even Ko Gao couldn't handle this power and was blown away. A clear palm print could be seen on his chest, and he fell onto the ground while puking out blood. Spare me. Seeing Xia Ping approaching, Ko Gao yelled out, "As long as you spare my life, I can give you whatever you want. I'm the leader of the wind chaser bandits, and I've been running wild around the West Wasteland City for more than 10 years. I've done all kinds of evil deeds, and I've robbed countless treasures. As long as you spare my life, all the treasures I have will belong to you." Before he could finish, Xia Ping slapped out with his palm. Boom! Ko Gao's skull was shattered into pieces, and he died on the spot. A huge amount of blood flowed out from his eyes, mouth, nose, and ears, making dripping sounds. His eyes were wide open, filled with fear and unwillingness. Before he died, he didn't expect that Xia Ping would be this cruel. He didn't even wait for him to finish his sentence before killing him with one palm. If this brat had hesitated for even a second, he might have been able to live. So cruel. Xia Ping squinted his eyes. He saw that Ko Gao was holding a remote control in his right hand, and it seemed like he only needed to press it lightly to activate the mechanism of this tunnel. But too bad, he didn't give Ko Gao any time to react and directly killed him with one palm. He didn't even have the time to activate the mechanism and died on the spot. Chapter 449. At the end of the tunnel, there was a thick iron door made of titanium alloy. It was 5 meters tall and extremely heavy. Even hundreds of tons of explosives would not be able to blow it open. A high-tech lock was installed on the side. It seemed to require a fingerprint and retina verification to open it. Xia Ping grabbed the corpse of the leader of the Wind Chasers, Ko Gao, and placed it in front of the iron door for verification. Immediately, a mechanical voice came from the iron door. Retina verification successful. Fingerprint verification successful. Master Ko Gao confirmed. Open the door now. With a beep, the door slowly opened, revealing the interior. It was a huge stone room. However, this stone room was filled with treasures. A large number of elixirs were placed on the left side, a large number of weapons were placed on the right side, and some martial arts manuals were placed on the bookshelves in front. There were even red wooden chests that were filled with gold, silver, and other treasures. A rough estimate was that these treasures were worth at least 40 to 50 billion federal coins. Moreover, these Wind Chasers had spent a lot of money and resources in order to improve their martial arts cultivation and survive for more than 10 years. But even so, there was still so much left in the treasury. It was enough to prove that the wealth of these Wind Chaser bandits was not something that ordinary bandits could compare to. TSK. This must be the lifetime wealth of these wind-chasing bandits. They plundered for more than 10 years. Furthermore, they were martial masters. Their harvest is even more shocking, Xia Ping exclaimed in admiration, his eyes lighting up. If he sold all these treasures, he would definitely become rich overnight. Even a peak martial master would need a lot of time to earn tens of billions of federal coins. Indeed, a man would not be rich without a windfall, and a horse would not be fat without grass at night. No way, these are spiritual pills. Xia Ping stepped forward and immediately saw bottles of spiritual pills placed in wooden boxes. They were worth at least a few billion federal coins. Even for martial masters, spiritual pills had a considerable effect because they contained extremely pure wood energy. It was very beneficial to the human body and could strengthen the energy of the source of life. This is Snow Lotus Pill. They actually have such a precious pill. Xia Ping looked over. In addition to spiritual pills, he also found another precious pill, Snow Lotus Pill. The main ingredient of this pill was said to be a 1,000-year-old snow lotus that grew on a 10,000-meter-tall mountain. This kind of spirit herb contained pure energy and was extremely precious. Its value was even higher than the profound Een fruit. Consuming a snow lotus pill could save a martial master a year of cultivation time. It could be said that this pill was simply a holy pill for a martial master. However, there were actually 13 of such elixirs. It was likely that the boss of the bandits, Ko Gao, had spent a huge sum of money to buy it for his own cultivation, but he hadn't had the time to use it yet. However, these precious medicinal pills were all his now. What's this? After checking all the pills, Xia Ping turned to look at the weapons. Most of them were cold weapons, but there were also some laser guns, grenades, and other hot weapons. Originally, there was nothing strange about it. However, he discovered a long black box that seemed to be tied up by iron chains. From the depths of the box, an evil aura leaked out. He even put a seal on the box, forbidding anyone from approaching and touching it. Of course, Xia Ping didn't care about these warnings. With a slap, he immediately shattered the iron chains into countless pieces. Even the black box was shattered into pieces. Immediately, something came out of the black box. It was a spear, a black spear. Xiaoping's eyes were fixed on the black spear. There were strange patterns carved on it. It seemed as if strange and evil monsters were emerging from the spear. They were vivid and lifelike, as if they were about to rush out of the spear. Whoosh! At this moment, the spear began to vibrate, and a large amount of black, evil aura gushed out. It actually transformed into many skulls with ferocious expressions. They fiercely pounced on Xiaoping, trying to devour him. Vaguely, there seemed to be a strange spiritual fluctuation in the air. This spiritual fluctuation contained an evil and chaotic taste, which could corrode the human spirit. At this moment, Xiaoping's spirit was attacked. He seemed to have fallen into an illusion. He was surrounded by countless demons. These demons were crazily biting and devouring his soul. He fell into a state of despair. "You're courting death." At this moment, Xiaoping felt that his life was in danger. The aura in his body immediately operated. The two golden crow hell cells roared and let out an earth-shattering cry. Bang, bang, bang. The sound waves vibrated, and the black aura was immediately shaken by the terrifying sound waves. These demons seemed to have encountered their natural enemy. They all screamed in horror and were scared out of their wits. The black aura quickly retreated and shrank back into the black spear. "Refine." Xiaoping stepped forward and grabbed the black spear. However, the black spear was shaking crazily, struggling and trying to escape from his hand. He operated the spiritual ether in his body and permeated it. Terrifying flames surrounded the spear, making crackling sounds. However, what surprised Xiaoping was that even under such a high temperature, the spear didn't seem to be affected at all. It seemed that this kind of temperature couldn't melt this kind of material. At the same time, he permeated it with his spiritual power and left a spiritual mark inside. After a while, the black spear was refined. It seemed to have stopped struggling and finally recognized Xiaoping as its master. It was no longer resisting like before. Treasured weapon. This is a treasured weapon. Its name is Hell Spear. Xiaoping gripped the spear tightly. He could feel that the spear contained a terrifying power. Once it exploded, it would be able to pierce through everything. However, this Hell Spear was also extremely dangerous. It contained a dark, evil, and chaotic power. If someone dared to touch this Hell Spear, they would immediately be eroded by the spiritual power inside. Over time, they would become bloodthirsty monsters that only knew how to kill. The wind-chasing bandits also knew this. They probably had many accidents in the past. Therefore, they sealed this black spear and never used it again. They were also extremely afraid of this spear. They called it the Spear of Curses. Otherwise, if Ko Gao could use this Hell Spear, it would be impossible for him to kill Ko Gao. However, although the Hell Spear was very dangerous, it was only for ordinary people. Chapter 450. I wonder what kind of power it has. Xiaoping clenched the spear and infused the true essence in his body into it. The spear immediately vibrated, and the strange and evil lines on it emerged, and there was the cry of ghosts and gods in the void. Wisps of black aura wrapped around the spear, exuding the smell of evil, devouring, corrosion, and so on. Ordinary martial artists would feel terrified if they saw this scene. There was even a strange spiritual force trying to invade Xiaoping's soul through the spear. However, the true essence in Xiaoping's body was running, and the golden crow cells were filled with a holy aura, completely suppressing and even eliminating this power. Dong! He gently poked the spear forward, and the wall next to him was immediately pierced like tofu. The black aura emerged, and the wall melted like ice and snow, making a crashing sound. Immediately, a hole with a diameter of 2 or 3 meters appeared on the wall, and the rubble fell to the ground, turning into powder and quicksand with a snap. It's really powerful. Xiaoping's eyes flickered. He could feel the terrifying power of this spear. It was invincible, and if it was driven with all its strength, it could probably even penetrate the outer shell of a spaceship. Even his spiritual force left a spiritual mark on this spear. As long as it was within a kilometer, he could control this spear at will. Even if it left his side, he could summon it back. With this great killing weapon, He could deal with more strong people and be invincible. But there are so many treasures here. How can I take them away? Xiaoping looked at the treasures around the treasury and was a little embarrassed. After all, there were too many treasures here, and they were priceless. In any case, these treasures were worth at least tens of billions of federal coins when sold. With this money, he didn't know how many cultivation resources he could buy. He wanted to take them all away, but the problem was that his spatial ring was only 100 cubic meters, and it was impossible to store all these treasures. He could only discard some of them. The problem was that no matter which part it was extremely precious, and he was reluctant to leave it here. If there was no other way, perhaps he could only come to this wind chaser's lair several times, like ants moving house, and take these treasures away one by one. But it would take too long. At this moment, the system's voice came out. Host, this is not a problem. As long as the host is willing to spend hatred, the storage space of the spatial ring can be immediately expanded. What? Hearing this, Xiaoping's eyes lit up. He immediately asked, how much can it expand? 100,000 hatred points can be expanded by 100 cubic meters, and 1 million hatred points can be expanded by 1,000 cubic meters. The more hatred points you spend, the more space you can expand. The system replied. How expensive? Xiaoping sucked in a breath of cold air. He spent so much hatred, but it was only to expand the storage space. But when he thought about it carefully, it was worth it. After all, this was a permanent increase in space. If he obtained more treasures in the future, then the huge storage space would be of great help. This could be considered a long-term investment. Well, spend 2 million hatred points to expand by 2,000 cubic meters. Xiaoping thought for a moment and immediately made a decision. The system replied, yes, host. Rumble. Immediately, Xiaoping sensed that the space in his space ring was constantly expanding. Its length, width, and height were all increasing rapidly, slowly becoming the size of 2 ordinary houses. It could hold even more things. And he also had more than 4 million hatred points left on him. Wait, there seems to be air inside this space ring. Xiaoping didn't notice it first, but when he was promoted to the martial master realm, his spiritual force was more majestic and sensitive. He immediately noticed that this space ring seemed to be connected to the outside world, constantly swallowing and exhaling spiritual energy, exchanging air with the outside world, and producing air circulation. If there is air, doesn't that mean that this space ring can hold living things? Thinking of this, Xiaoping couldn't help but get excited. If the space ring could hold living things, then it would be more useful than he thought. At this time, the system said, host is right. This space ring can indeed store living things. If the volume is large enough, there's the possibility of growing into a small world in the future. Amazing. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. It was worthy of being a treasure exchange from the system. Although it was expensive, it was still worth it. If he could continue to expand this space, maybe he could carry a small world with him in the future. That would be terrifying. With a whoosh, he moved his mind and his figure flickered. In the next second, he appeared in the space of the space ring, and the ring fell to the ground with a clang. Sure enough, it can store living things. Xiaoping stayed in the space ring. He breathed slowly and felt that it was similar to the real world, surrounded by rich spiritual energy. He reached out and touched his surroundings and found that there was a transparent space barrier, which was very hard. It was estimated that even the power of a nuclear bomb could not break this space barrier. I can even control this space ring. Xiaoping's heart moved, and his spiritual force penetrated into the depths of the space ring and immediately ran the core power of the space ring. With a whoosh, the space ring actually rose into the air, broke away from gravity, and under the control of Xiaoping's mind, it slowly moved forward, buzzing. But the speed was very slow, almost the same as the speed of a turtle crawling. My spiritual force is still too weak. If it was stronger, I might be able to control this space ring to fly fast, and even break the speed of sound. Xiaoping squeezed his fist. If it was a little faster, then if he entered and exited a dangerous place in the future, he could hide in the space ring and then use his spiritual force to control it, so that he could enter and exit many dangerous places without worrying about his own safety. It can be said that such a treasure has endless magical uses, and spending 2 million hatred points to expand it is definitely worth the money. Walala, with enough space, Xiaoping was not stingy and immediately moved all the things in the treasure house into the space ring, piling them up one by one. It didn't take long for him to move all the things in the treasure house, and not even a hair was left. If Ko Gao and the other wind chasers were still alive, they would definitely be mad. They had worked hard for more than 10 years to accumulate such treasures, but now all of them were taken away by Xiaoping, leaving nothing behind. This was simply making a wedding dress for others. Well, it's finally done. Xiaoping smiled slightly, feeling comfortable. However, his space ring was only half filled with things, not all of them. But even so, it was equivalent to filling a house with treasures, and the number was astonishing. Chapter 451. The next day, the sun shone brightly. At the entrance of Western Wasteland City's Impossibility Gang's headquarters, a few guards were stationed there. There were many people coming and going, and it was very lively. Captain, I wonder if the young master you mentioned will come today. Yeah, this is the first time I've seen such a generous person, giving out 100,000 federal coins as a tip. Just receiving him alone is enough for us to live comfortably this month. I really hope there are a few more guests like him. That would be great. Isn't that so? The guards were chatting casually. The scene yesterday had a huge impact on them. Even though they had seen many different kinds of people in Western Wasteland City, this was the first time they had seen such a young master. Let's not talk about this anymore. He won't come again. A guard captain sneered. In short, the gang leader has already given a gag order. You guys are not allowed to talk about this in the future. That young master has never come, so we can't help you. As a middle-level member of the gang, he knew a lot of inside information. He knew that the young master had long been captured by the wind-chasing bandits and was probably suffering inhumane torture. He might even be dead already. A dead person like this would naturally not come again. Of course, this matter was top secret and could not be told to his subordinates. Captain, what do you mean? Why can't we talk about it? A guard asked curiously. The guard captain's eyes turned cold. If you can't talk about it, then you can't talk about it. In this world, the more you know, the faster you die. Don't you guys understand this? He warned the curious subordinates beside him. The reason why this matter was forbidden to be discussed was because the Impossibility Gang leader was worried that the kid's family would go crazy. If the power behind the kid found out, it might lead to revenge. Therefore, the Impossibility Gang wanted to completely seal this news and pretend that it had never happened. This way, even if the truth came to light, they would not be implicated. Yes, Captain. Instantly, the guards were silent and did not dare to ask anymore. They knew that something big must have happened. Otherwise, why would the gang leader issue a ban? Furthermore, as members of the underworld, they knew that there were all kinds of restrictions in this industry. If they casually touched it, they would be dead on the streets the next day. That's not right, Captain. Didn't you say that kid wouldn't come? But who is that young man? Suddenly, one of the guards shouted, pointing at a young man who was slowly walking over. What? The guard captain followed his subordinate's gaze, and when he saw the figure walking over, he was shocked. That person was Xiaoping. The problem wasn't this kid captured by the Windchaser bandits a long time ago, tortured inhumanely, and perhaps even killed? Why did he appear in this place and come to helplessness? He immediately felt that something was wrong. If this kid didn't die, then they wouldn't be able to help, and something big would happen. I'm here to see your supervisor. Xiaoping came to the entrance of the lawless gang and went straight to the point. Where is he right now? Tell him to come out immediately. I have something to discuss with him. The guard captain panicked, but he was someone who had experienced many dangerous situations, so he quickly calmed down and regained his composure. I'm sorry. The supervisor has gone out to deal with some matters and is not in the headquarters for the time being. Young master, if there's anything important, feel free to tell me. When he comes back, I will immediately report to him. He wanted to stall for time and stop Xiaoping from going in. He wanted to find out what happened first before making a decision. Went out to deal with some matters? That's a good excuse. Xiaoping sneered. I'll be honest with you. Helplessness offended me, and I am very angry. The consequences are very serious. If you don't tell the person in charge of Helplessness Gang to come out and give me an explanation, you won't be able to bear the consequences today. Do you understand?" Hearing this, the guard captain's attitude immediately became tough. He said coldly, "Kid, don't be so shameless. This is Western Huang City. This is the territory of Helplessness Gang. If you want to behave atrociously here and throw a tantrum like a young master, you're not qualified at all. Do you understand? If you know what's good for you." Before he could finish, Xia Ping grabbed out with his hand and formed a sword with his chi. In an instant, he smashed toward the guard captain and pierced through his chest. This, you dare to kill me?" The guard captain looked at Xia Ping in disbelief. His eyes were filled with fear as he watched a bloody hole appear in his chest. His heart had been destroyed. Because of the strong vitality of a martial master, even if his heart was destroyed, he could still survive for more than 10 seconds. However, he didn't dare to believe that this hedonistic son of a rich family actually dared to kill him in one move in front of so many people. This was too crazy. "Don't dare to kill you? Who do you think you are? I have no taboo when it comes to killing." Xiaoping looked at the guard captain indifferently. "You want to stop me from going in? You are loyal to Helplessness Gang? You don't even know how to write the word death. Go to hell and show your loyalty to the King of Hell." With a bang, he circulated his qigong, and a long sword formed by quintessential essence immediately exploded. Immediately, the guard captain's body was blasted into pieces. His flesh was badly mutilated, and a large amount of blood sprayed out. The surrounding guards and pedestrians were all stained with the blood. The whole place was scarlet, and it looked extremely terrifying. Murder! Someone killed someone. Oh my God, where did this kid come from? This is too exaggerated. He actually dared to kill someone in public. Moreover, the person he killed wasn't an ordinary person. He was the guard captain of Helplessness Gang, a middle-level leader, an elite. Now that he was killed in public, how could this be? The whole Helplessness Gang will go crazy. Crazy, this is too crazy. Doesn't he know that killing someone in Western Desolation City is against the laws and regulations here? I reckon that even the Western Desolation City's police will be mobilized to arrest him. I reckon he's here for revenge. This Helplessness Gang has offended too many people in recent years. Even if he's here for revenge, he can't do this. In broad daylight, he directly attacked the gate of Helplessness Gang and killed the guard captain. This is like slapping Helplessness Gang's face. This kid is dead for sure. There's no need for the Western Desolation City's police to make a move. Helplessness Gang alone is enough to crush him to death. Indeed, in recent years, Helplessness Gang's power has been expanding rapidly. It's like the sun in the sky. Wanting to fight against helplessness alone is simply a fool's dream. Chapter 452. Someone is here to seek revenge. At the door, seeing that his team leader was killed in one move and lying in a pool of blood, a guard who could not help but scream in fear. What? Someone dares to kill at the door of the Wu Gang. Immediately, 5 or 6 martial masters at the second heaven of the martial master realm rushed out, exuding terrifying evil qi. They all stood in front of Xia Ping. One of them stared at Xia Ping fiercely and shouted angrily, "How dare you? How dare you kill someone I can't help? Kneel down and surrender now, or we will make you die without a burial place." He shouted crazily, and everyone within a radius of 3 miles could hear him. The passers-by could not help but cover their ears. One could imagine how terrifying such a shout was. Yesterday, Xiaoping stood still and stared at the group of people. He said calmly, "I came here to buy information about the whereabouts of the wind-chasing bandits. But in the blink of an eye, you leaked my information and provoked the wind-chasing bandits. If not for my ability, I would have died in the hands of the wind-chasing bandits. If you don't give me an explanation today, I will not let this matter go." He used the sound wave technique of the 8 sounds of the heavenly dragon. His voice was calm, but everyone present could hear it clearly. There was even a mysterious fluctuation in the air, which made people believe him. I see. No wonder this guy came here to seek revenge and killed someone I can't help. Anyone would be angry. I came here to buy information. and in the blink of an eye, I can't help but sell my information. Who can stand being framed like this? This is too much. How can anyone do business like this? Selling out their business partners. In the long run, who would dare to do business with the Wu Gang? Aren't they afraid of being betrayed? It seems like I better not do business with the Wu Gang in the future. Otherwise, I won't even know when they will betray me. He deserves to be killed. They don't follow the rules of the Jianghu. Who would believe them? The surrounding people suddenly understood. They were also wondering why this young man was so angry and came here alone to seek revenge. It turned out that someone from the Wu Gang had sold his information and provoked the wind-chasing bandits. If they were in his shoes, they would also be angry. He had provoked a strong enemy for no reason. This was a mortal enemy. Who could tolerate such a thing? The people from the Wu Gang were shocked and angry. This young man of evil intentions said these words on purpose to tarnish the reputation of the Wu Gang. He wanted the world to think that the Wu Gang was a shameless person who sold out his customers. If this news spread, the Wu Gang would be ruined. No one would do business with the Wu Gang anymore. This B*TCH wanted to completely destroy the lawless gang. This was a drastic measure that was extremely vicious. Bullshit. Hearing the words of the people around him, a martial mentor shouted angrily, "Don't try to mislead us here. You said that you couldn't help us by information, but who can prove this? Where's the witness? Where's the material evidence? Trying to act atrociously in the Can't Help gang without any evidence? Making irresponsible remarks, spreading rumors, and slandering the reputation of the Can't Help gang. Do you know how serious a crime this is?" Some of the people who couldn't help sneered. It was absolutely impossible for this brat to find witnesses and material evidence to prove himself. Everyone here was someone who couldn't help him, who would help him prove himself. Under the threat of the Wu Gang, even if someone had seen this young man come in, no one would dare to testify unless he wanted to die. They were determined to kill Xiaoping. I don't think this young man has any evidence. He is from a rival gang. He came here on purpose to tarnish the reputation of the Wu Gang and attack our competitors. A second Heaven Martial Master sneered. Let's capture him and investigate him thoroughly. Let's see which gang has the guts to go against the Wu Gang. Evidence? I don't need it. If I say you're guilty, then you're guilty. Xiaoping looked at the group of people indifferently. I only have one purpose here, and that is to destroy the Wu Gang and uproot the Wu Gang from Western Wilderness City. As soon as he finished speaking, he instantly attacked with a punch. His fist was surrounded by a terrifying dark red flame. It was as if the air had turned into lava. The surrounding temperature rose sharply, as if a sun had descended. With a boom, the fist force broke through the air and smashed toward one of the martial masters. It was as if the god of fire had descended, emitting a terrifying power. The Wu Gang elite's eyes were filled with horror. Such a fist was too fast. It broke through the sound barrier and reached his body in an instant. With a bang, his chest was penetrated by the fist force. A large hole appeared in his chest. There was a sizzling sound in the air, and his blood was evaporated by the flames. His body fell to the ground, causing dust to rise. His eyes were wide open, as if he could not believe that he had been killed by such a punch. How dare you attack? Kill him. Kill this arrogant villain immediately. Seeing that one of their companions had been killed by a punch, the 3 or 4 martial masters at the third heaven of the Wu Gang elites beside him all went crazy. Their eyes widened and their chests almost exploded from anger. At the entrance of the Wu Gang headquarters, and in front of so many Wu Gang members, this kid dared to be so unscrupulous and commit murder. He did not respect them at all. They instantly attacked like thunder, punching out in 3 or 4 directions, immediately surrounding Xiaoping from all 4 directions. They definitely wouldn't let this murderer escape. Stupid. Xiaoping's eyes flashed with a cold light. He stood on the ground with one foot, one hand pointing to the sky and the other to the ground like a white crane. His whole body was like a divine sword chi soaring into the sky. The 8th move of the Myriad Beast Fist, White Crane Slash. After advancing to the Martial Master realm, the power of the Myriad Beast Fist had also increased by several times. With a white crane slash, the quintessential essence in his body circulated crazily, and a terrifying sword intent brewed in his dantian. It was indestructible and extremely sharp, tearing everything apart. Swoosh! Swoosh! In an instant, dozens of sword chi shot out from his body and blasted in all directions. It was like a sky full of sword rain, condensing into a substance, and visible ripples appeared in the air. Ah! Immediately, 3 or 4 Wu Gang elites let out shrill screams. The protective quintessential chi on their bodies was immediately pierced by the sword chi, and then their bodies were torn to pieces by more than a dozen sword chi. With a bang, the terrifying sword chi immediately exploded in their bodies. They were torn to pieces, their flesh scattered everywhere, and a large amount of blood dyed the ground red. Chapter 453. So strong. Everyone was shocked. Yi Shiwen had killed 3 or 4 martial masters in one move, leaving them defenseless. His combat power was unbelievably strong. The Lawless Gang members were also dumbfounded. These people were considered experts in the Lawless Gang. Even some of the elders were no better than them. However, they had been killed by this kid in one move. It was too terrifying. I'll collect some interest first. All of you can die here. Xiaoping swept his gaze over the Lawless Gang members at the entrance. His eyes were filled with killing intent. He wanted to kill these Lawless Gang members. What? The Lawless Gang members were shocked. They could not help but take a few steps back. Their bodies were trembling. If this murderer unleashed his power, they would all die. Stop! Suddenly, an angry shout was heard. It sounded like the roar of a ferocious beast. The glass in the surroundings was shattered. More than a dozen figures flew out from the Lawless Gang headquarters. These figures all had the strength of a martial master. The strongest was a 4th-layer martial master. Among them were Lawless Gang leader Salander and the black-clothed man in charge. There were also more than a dozen Lawless Gang elders. These people were the true elites of the Lawless Gang. After all, the Lawless Gang headquarters had been attacked. How could they sit still? One by one, they flew out from the headquarters and surrounded Xiaoping, who had come to seek revenge. Looking at the corpses on the ground, as well as Xiaoping, Helplessness Faction's leader, Salander's face fell, and he roared. He was now extremely sad and indignant. A few martial master elites had died. This was definitely a heavy blow to the immeasurable gang. It was a heavy blow that they could not bear. The gang's strength would be greatly reduced. After all, martial master elites were considered experts in the heavenly realm. Such experts usually held positions in major martial arts organizations or joined government departments, enjoying glory, splendor, and wealth. Martial masters who were willing to join gangs and become bandits were few and far between. It would be very difficult to replace one of them. One could imagine how angry they were. They even wanted to kill Xiaoping. You won't let me go? Xiaoping laughed out loud as if he had heard a joke. You can't help me collude with the wind-chasing bandits. You've wanted me dead for a long time. When will you let me go? Now, the death of some elites who can't help us is just the beginning. If you dare to sell my information, you can't help us. Today, your names will be removed from the Westerbaron city. He clenched his fists and looked at the helplessness members calmly. Bullshit. The black-clothed supervisor from before shouted angrily. You're still trying to mislead us with your lies. We've never seen you before, and we've never made any deals with you. Everything you've said is just a fabrication. If you want to pin a crime on someone, you can always find a pretext. Think about it. I can't help you get revenge. What excuse can I find? He flatly denied that he had ever seen Xiaoping, nor did he have any dealings with Xiaoping, because this was the bottom line that he could not help. He absolutely would not allow his reputation to be tarnished. The more gangster they were, the more they cared about their reputation, because it would bring them great benefits. Most of their businesses were built on good reputations. If their reputation was ruined, then the helplessness gang would completely collapse. However, even if he was beaten to death, he would never have thought that this good-for-nothing young man would not only survive from the wind-chasing bandits, but also come to seek revenge, causing so much trouble for the helplessness gang. If they had known this earlier, Even if they couldn't help, they would have personally killed this brat. Leader, I feel that this brat is someone sent by a rival gang. His purpose is to tarnish our helplessness gang's reputation. He should be punished. No, I feel that this brat is extremely cruel. Even the gang members can't compare to him. It's highly possible that he's colluding with the demonic race, trying to disrupt the order of Western Barren City. He's a traitor. So that's how it is. It makes sense now. No wonder he came to tarnish our helplessness gang's reputation for no reason, purposely causing chaos in Western Barren City. This is all a scheme of the demonic race. Killing people is already a serious crime, but he actually became a lackey of the demonic race, a traitor. This is simply a heinous crime, unforgivable. Everyone, let's attack together and kill him. The group of helplessness gang elders roared in anger, pouring dirty water on Xiaoping, listing out all the crimes. The leader of helplessness gang also shouted angrily, "Everyone, this brat might be a spy of the demonic race. He came to our Western Barren City to commit murder, trying to cause chaos in our city. This is a heinous crime. Everyone, please help me kill this traitor. After this is done, I will heavily reward you." He roared loudly, trying to gather the surrounding people, gathering everyone's strength to annihilate Xiaoping. The black-robed man and the others sneered coldly. This was their home ground. They believed that with the help of helplessness gang's influence, suppressing a mere young lord would be as easy as flipping a palm. After killing this brat, they could spend some money to settle this matter. It wouldn't affect helplessness gang at all, and helplessness gang's future would still be as bright as the sun in the sky. Noisy. With a loud bang, Xiaoping's eyes flashed with a cold light. He immediately took out the Hell Spear, and with his body as the center, a terrifying aura of 1 kilometer in radius was formed. Under such an aura, ghostly wails and wolf howls could be heard. A terrifying aura of hell spread out, and the air was filled with strange spiritual fluctuations affecting the minds of the surrounding martial artists. They were incomparably shocked. It was as if they had fallen into an illusion of hell, and their bodies were being torn apart by countless malicious ghosts. What is this? Salander and the others were horrified. They had no idea what was going on, but their instincts as martial masters told them that their bodies were in mortal danger. Die! Xiaoping stabbed with his spear. The spear pierced through, and the tip of the spear instantly formed a vacuum zone. A terrifying spiral airflow spun wildly above it, causing the air to tremble thousands of times. A hellish aura filled the surroundings, intimidating the minds. Dong! Immediately, the 5 martial masters in front, including the black-robed man in charge, were unable to resist. Their protective true chi was torn apart, and their bodies were pierced by this tyrannical power. With a boom, the true chi vibrated as if a super explosion had occurred. Their bodies exploded into pieces, turning into meat paste. A large amount of blood splattered on the ground, dyeing it red. Even helplessness gang's leader, Salida, could not withstand this terrifying force. He was sent flying and smashed into the wall. Cracking sounds rang out as he was seriously injured. Chapter 454. The Hell Spear is truly powerful. Xiaoping's eyes flickered. He could feel that the Hell Spear's attack power had increased by several times. Even if these martial masters tried their best to block it, it would be useless. Furthermore, the Hell Spear even contained a sinister mental power. Even before it was used, it crushed the minds of many martial masters, reducing their strength by 30%. It was impossible for these powerless gang elders to block it. With the Hell Spear as a weapon, he was like a tiger that had grown wings. Damn it! What weapon is that? What exactly is it? Helplessness Gang's leader was indescribably shocked. He simply couldn't believe his eyes as he looked at the black spear in Xiaoping's hand. Such a weapon was too terrifying. Once it was used, the strength of their bodies was reduced. Even a group of them had been killed by this brat's spear. He had never seen such a terrifying weapon in his life. He had never even heard of such a thing. A treasured weapon. Could this be the legendary treasured weapon? Helplessness Gang's leader suddenly recalled a cultivator's rumor. It was said that there were treasured weapons passed down from ancient times that contained supreme might. If a cultivator could obtain one, they would immediately be able to increase their battle prowess by several times. Even challenging someone of a higher realm would be a piece of cake. However, such treasured weapons were extremely precious. Ordinary cultivators simply didn't have the qualifications to obtain them. Even the descendants of sovereign clans were few and far between. Helplessness Gang had never imagined that he would actually encounter one here. Thinking of this, Helplessness Gang's intestines turned green with regret. If he had known that this brat was so savage and possessed such a terrifying treasured weapon, he wouldn't have dared to do anything to him, even if he was beaten to death. Even if he had to sell out all of the Windchaser bandits, it would have been worth it. However, it was already too late. You don't need to know what it is. If you want to know, go to hell and ask the King of Hell. Xiaoping's eyes flashed with a cold light. He wanted to stab Helplessness Gang to death. Stop! Suddenly, there was an angry shout that shook the surrounding area for several kilometers. The earth trembled as a terrifying aura pressed down. The surrounding cultivators all trembled, feeling as if there was a mountain on their shoulders. Xiaoping could also feel the crushing aura. It was almost unparalleled. This was definitely not something a martial mentor could compare with. He estimated that the person who came was a grandmaster. With a thump, a figure fell from the sky, immediately smashing out a deep pit with a diameter of 10 meters. Kacha, the surrounding cement road, was immediately torn apart, and cracks appeared like spider webs. The smoke and dust quickly dispersed, and a figure walked out of the deep pit. It was a middle-aged man wearing a white robe. His body exuded an aura like that of a mountain, and every step he took seemed to cause the earth to shake and the mountains to shake. Western Desert City's deputy city governor, Shajie. He's Salita's elder brother, and he's a Grandmaster realm expert. Many people immediately recognized the white-robed man's true identity, and they were all shocked. Those who were able to become the Western Desolated City's Vice-City Lord had at least reached the Grandmaster realm. With the strength of a single person, they were able to suppress an entire army. Their strength was unparalleled, causing others to fear them. The reason why the Powerless Gang had developed so quickly and kept recruiting people, and its influence was like the sun in the sky, was because Salita had an elder brother. He was the Western Desert City's Vice-City Lord. With this big backer, he could be unbridled and commit all sorts of evil deeds, but no one dared to punish him. Everyone held their breaths, feeling the majestic pressure. The attack of a Grandmaster realm expert was no small matter. Such a person was already standing at the peak of mortals and could be called a marshal. They were the strongest experts apart from kings. Even missiles might not be able to kill them. What's going on? Shajie shouted angrily. His eyes were as savage as a beast's, filled with terrifying pressure as he stared at Xiaoping. Why did you commit murder in Western Desert City? Who gave you the courage to do so? These Powerless Gang bandits colluded with the Windchaser bandits and committed all sorts of evil deeds. They're devoid of conscience, and they bring disaster to their neighbors. They even sold information about me for their own benefits. They've committed the most heinous crimes, Xiaoping said in a deep voice. That's why I'm here to destroy the Powerless Gang and rid the people of evil. Rid my *SS. The Powerless Gang's leader, Salander, was so angry that his nose was crooked. He said angrily, "You're full of nonsense. We've never seen such a bandit before. How could we have sold information about him? Moreover, as everyone knows, the Powerless Gang is a law-abiding citizen. They pay their taxes on time, and they have good morals. They're famous in Western Desert City. How could they have colluded with the Windchaser bandits? It's clearly this villain who's colluding with the demons. He's a traitor and a demon's lackey. He's trying to sow discord and harm good people. He's done such evil deeds, and the people are seething with resentment. If we don't kill this villain today, what law and order will there be in Western Desert City? What justice and justice will there be? I hope City Lord Salander will make a move and capture this villain as soon as possible. We'll behead him as an apology." His tone was extremely vicious. The passers-by were speechless. They had to hand it to this Salander. What did he mean by distorting the truth? This was it. After all, everyone in Western Desert City knew that the powerless gang had committed all sorts of evil deeds. They were devoid of conscience and committed all sorts of evil deeds. However, in his words, they had become law-abiding citizens who paid their taxes on time. However, the person before them was Western Desert City's deputy city lord, Shah Jae. He was Salander's elder brother, a Grandmaster realm expert. None of them dared to say anything in front of such a person. I see. I understand the gist of the matter now. Shah Jae nodded. He turned to stare at Xiaoping. How dare you collude with the demons? You become their lackey, and you've harmed good people. How dare you? Do you still have any conscience or humanity? However, it's a waste of energy to talk to a traitor like you. I'll only give you two options now. The first option is for you to cripple your own martial arts, kneel on the ground, and beg for mercy as an apology. Then, I'll arrest you and bring you to justice. This way, you'll be spared some physical pain. The second option is for me to personally kill you with a palm strike. In that case, you won't even have the chance to go to court to redress your grievances. I've already given you two options. What's your choice? He was extremely domineering. He had given Xiaoping two options. The passers-by looked at Xiaoping with pity. These were not two options. They were clearly dead ends. The first option was for him to cripple his own martial arts and become a cripple. That would be a fate worse than death. No martial artist would be willing to do that. Moreover, without martial arts, how would he be able to protect himself? Based on these people's ferocious characters, they would not give Xiaoping a chance to appeal at all. They would deal with him in secret and use all sorts of reasons to make him die in prison. As for the second option, it was also death. The difference between the Grandmaster realm and the Martial Master realm was too great. It was impossible for him to resist. I choose the third option, which is for you to die. A cold gleam flashed in Xiaoping's eyes. He was filled with killing intent. He immediately pressed the smartwatch on his wrist. Chapter 455. What? Everyone raised their heads and were shocked. They suddenly saw a spaceship hovering 100 meters above the ground, quietly floating in the air. However, this was a piece of cake for the top-notch private spaceship, the Luminous God. It was installed with an optical illusion system that could distort light and enter an invisible state. In such a state, no radar or human eyes would be able to detect this spaceship. To prevent any accidents from happening, Xiaoping used his smartwatch to control this spaceship before he decided to annihilate Lawless Gang. It arrived above the Lawless Gang's headquarters. Moreover, this spaceship was installed with the most advanced photon processor and intelligent controls. As long as he gave orders through his smartwatch, he would be able to control everything in this spaceship. It was very simple and easy. At this moment, the Luminous God's laser cannons were already opened. Energy gathered inside, brewing terrifying energy. The air around them began to distort. Boom! An energy cannon that was as thick as a water bucket shot out. The weather changed, and the air distorted. It was as if everything had been scorched at this moment. It contained an aura that could destroy the world. The energy cannon emitted a blinding light. Everything within a 10-mile radius seemed to be able to feel this light. It was as if a sun was hanging in the sky. Oh no! Shiji's face turned green from fright when he sensed this energy explosion. He knew how terrifying the laser cannons on this spaceship were. They were more than 10,000 times more powerful than ordinary laser firearms. A weapon system like this was meant to deal with demons with powerful physiques and many wild beasts. As for dealing with humans, it was practically a waste of resources. However, the speed of this energy cannon was simply too fast. Shah Jae was only 100 meters away from the spaceship. How was he supposed to dodge the attack at such a short distance and at such a high speed? Boom! An energy cannon that was as thick as a water bucket came crashing down and instantly struck Shiji's body. His righteous chi barrier was immediately blasted into pieces, shattering inch by inch. Arg! Shah Jae let out a shrill cry. He could not unleash his Grandmaster's abilities at all. Half of his body was immediately blasted into pieces. His flesh and blood splattered all over the ground. Large amounts of blood dyed the ground red. Only the upper half of his body was left. Both his arms and legs were blasted into pieces. A deep pit with a diameter of 10 meters was blasted into the ground by the energy cannon. It even went up to 100 meters deep. Large amounts of soil trembled, and rocks were blasted into dust. This. The passers-by around were inexplicably horrified. Such a high-tech weapon was too terrifying. Even a master at the supreme power realm could not resist it and would be crippled in one move. Even so, with Shiji's powerful life force as a grandmaster, he was still alive despite only having half of his body left. He was still breathing. Why you dare to attack me? You dare to kill me? Shiji could not believe his eyes. He uttered these words weakly as he glared at Xia Ping with hatred in his eyes. One must know that he was the deputy city lord of Western Desolation City, a master realm expert, possessing immense authority. If he were to die here today, who knew how big of a disturbance it would cause? But this kid actually dared to make a move. Without saying a word, the energy cannons of the spaceship killed him in an instant. He didn't even have the chance to escape. He regretted it so much that his intestines turned green. If he had known that this brat was so savage and was simply a hothead, he would not have come here to find trouble with this brat, even if he was beaten to death. After all, he had a bright future ahead of him. Why would he fight to the death with this reckless hothead? Was he out his mind? Do you think that you can do whatever you want just because you're the deputy city lord of Western Desolation City? Do you think you can ignore the law and arrest me? Xiaoping looked at Shiji calmly. I was giving you face when I said a few words to you earlier. But you didn't take that face, and now you want to attack me? So what if you're a master realm expert? I can kill you in a breath's time. Bam! Xiaoping stomped his foot. It was as if a barbaric elephant was trampling on him. A terrifying force erupted. No. Shiji screamed in terror. He sensed fatal danger, and his heart was filled with despair. However, Xiaoping was unmoved. No one could move him. He stomped his foot hard on Shiji's head. With a crack, Shiji's head immediately cracked like a watermelon, turning into a pile of meat paste. Shiji was dead. My God, he really killed him? A passerby at the side shuddered as he watched. He looked at Xiaoping in disbelief. He did not expect Xiaoping to really dare to kill Shiji. Lunatic, he's a lunatic. Another passerby said in a trembling voice, Shiji was Western Desolation City's deputy city lord, a master realm expert. The death of someone like that would cause a huge commotion. How dare he kill someone like that? He kept retreating, not daring to look Xiaoping in the eye at all. He had even killed Western Desolation City's deputy city lord. Was there anyone else that he would not dare to kill? He was insanely brutal. Although the people present were also members of the underworld who had committed many evil deeds and killed people like flies, they still did not dare to act as recklessly and unscrupulously as this brat. The helplessness gang members were also trembling. A chill rose from the soles of their feet and rushed straight to the top of their heads. It should be known that Shiji was their helplessness gang's greatest backer. With someone like him around, they would not have any qualms about being annihilated. However, now that their backer had been killed and his head was stomped on the ground, he died a horrible death. Even their backer had collapsed. What would happen if they could not help them in the future? When they thought of this, they sank into deep despair. Shiji's death was too unjust. He was Western Desolation City's deputy city lord, a master realm expert with a lifespan of several hundred years and a bright future ahead of him. Now he was killed by this hothead. How could it not be unjust? Who would have thought that he'd prepared a private spaceship with military weapons installed on it? Even master realm expert wouldn't be able to escape if it was equipped with energy cannons. Shiji was really unlucky. Not only is this brat a hothead, but his background is also terrifying. We mustn't offend him. We mustn't offend this brat at all costs. If we offend this brat, we'll have 8 lifetimes of bad luck. Everyone discussed among themselves, dumbfounded. They were all experienced and knowledgeable, but this was the first time they had seen such a brutal young man. He was too terrifying and did not care about the consequences. After all, Western Desolation City's deputy city lord was the most powerful person apart from the city lord. Many underworld organizations were under the influence of such a person. Who would dare to be impudent? However, this brat killed such a person just like that. They were shocked from the bottom of their hearts. They no longer dared to underestimate this young man. Instead, they were filled with fear. We can't help the gang leader. Chapter 456. Ah! Helplessness gang's leader, Sullivan, screamed, his face contorted with madness. You damned mongrel! You even killed my big brother. How dare you do such a heartless thing? I won't forgive you. I won't forgive you even if I become a ghost. He had gone completely insane. Seeing that his backer, his big brother, had been killed, his backer had collapsed, and there was no one left to protect him. He had already given up all hope. Even if he could kill Xiaoping now, without his big brother's protection, how could he survive in a terrifying city like Western Wei City? Those enemies he had offended before would probably jump out one by one to add insult to injury, wanting to kill him. Noisy, Xiaoping thrust his spear forward. With a thump, it instantly pierced through Sullida's body, bursting his heart and ending his life. Ah! Sullida let out a miserable scream, his eyes wide open. Extreme unwillingness and regret could be seen in the depths of his eyes. Helplessness gang's leader had a high position and who knew how many years of glory and wealth he would enjoy. But now, all he had done was make a mistake and offended someone he shouldn't have, and now he was dead. Even his big brother, Sha Jie, couldn't escape and was killed in one fell swoop. No, no, no. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Seeing that even their big brother Sullivan had been stabbed to death, the other Helplessness gang members were so scared that they wet their pants. They no longer dared to be arrogant, all of them trembling like quails. It's all Salander's fault, Beelzebub said. That's right, that's right. They colluded with the Windchaser bandits to help dispose of stolen goods and reap huge profits. That's why their big brother sold you out as a favor. This is all Sullida's fault. They're the real culprits. They sold you out for a bit of profit, but we're just small fries. We had nothing to do with this. The Helplessness gang members knelt on the ground and begged for mercy, revealing the truth. After all, even their big brother, who they couldn't help, had been killed. How could they possibly survive in Western Wei City? For the sake of their own lives, they all spilled the secret, hoping that Xiaoping would spare their lives. It can't be. Can't Help really betrayed this young man? You pretended that you didn't know this young man before, but your acting was quite good. He's actually colluding with a bandit group like the Windchaser bandits. This Helplessness gang is truly a heinous crime. For the sake of some benefits, he betrayed his customers' information. Who knows how many such evil things he has done in the past? It's just that others are not as powerful as this young man, so they can only swallow their anger. The Helpless gang is too despicable. They even dared to collude with a bandit group like the Windchaser. They simply don't know how to write the word death. If the federal police find out about this, they will die without a burial place. Indeed, there's no telling how many people of the federal police have died in the operation of the Windchasers. Some of them might have been betrayed by those they couldn't help. They're doomed this time. The surrounding passers-by were in an uproar. They didn't expect the powerless gang to actually collude with the Windchaser bandits. Moreover, they even cooperated to help dispose of stolen goods. Some people also came to a sudden realization. No wonder the Unable gang had developed so quickly in recent years. It seemed that they had a lot of money and were recruiting people everywhere. So there is such an inside story. You say that the powerless gang is colluding with the Windchaser bandits. Do you have any proof? If there is, you could be spared from death. Xiaoping's eyes flickered as he stared at the powerless gang elders. One of the powerless gang elders immediately replied, "Yes, of course there is. The account books for every transaction with the powerless gang are placed in that traitor Sullida's treasury. I believe that you will definitely find proof if you search the treasury. Moreover, this treasury also contains that traitor Sullida's many years of savings. It's priceless. Now that Sullida is dead, it naturally belongs to you." He told a lot of inside stories, hoping to survive. Lead the way. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. He had obtained the Windchaser bandits' treasury, and now he could plunder the powerless gang's many years of wealth. This was simply a windfall from the heavens. He naturally wouldn't pass on such ill-gotten gains. Yes, yes, yes. The group of powerless gang elders nodded repeatedly like chickens. After witnessing Xia Ping's ferocious might, they simply didn't have the courage to resist. Not long after, with the powerless gang elders leading the way, Xia Ping arrived at the top floor of the building. This was where Sulida usually worked and rested, as well as where the treasury was located. "Sir, this is the place." One of the powerless gang elders pointed at a wall in the hall and said, "This is the old trader's treasury. However, Sulida has set up multiple passwords for this treasury. However, Sulida is extremely suspicious. He's the only one who knows the password. No one else knows." The others looked at Xia Ping in fear, afraid that he would use this as an excuse to kill them. "Password? There's no need for that." Xia Ping held the hellish lance in his hand and circulated his true essence. The inscriptions on the lance trembled, and a large amount of black aura surged out. Asterisk bang. Asterisk, his spear pierced forward. It was unstoppable, erupting with a sharpness that could tear everything apart. With a crash, the metal wall in front of him was cut open like tofu. Xia Ping lightly turned the lance, and a large hole appeared in the wall. The hard metal walls were immediately exposed, and it seemed to have set off an alarm. However, the entire powerless gang had fallen into chaos, so naturally, no one paid attention to it. The powerless gang members were all shocked. They knew how hard this treasury was. It was said to be constructed from phallus metal. It was incomparably hard, and even the outer shells of super warships were made from this metal. Just a single piece of it was worth a fortune. Back then, Sulida had spent who knew how much money to build this treasury. He had once said that even 100 tons of explosives wouldn't be able to blow it up, and that even grandmasters wouldn't be able to snatch it. However, this young man had just casually torn apart the treasury's door with a single thrust of his lance. This kind of weapon was simply too terrifying. "Stay outside and don't come in. Otherwise, you'll be killed without mercy." Xia Ping issued an order to the powerless gang members, then strode into the treasury. "What?" Hearing this, the powerless gang members' expressions darkened. After all, the treasure was right in front of them, and it was at their fingertips. Telling them to stay outside and not go in was simply torture. The problem was that Xia Ping's threat was simply too terrifying. They had no choice but to obey. Chapter 457. Inside the Treasury. Amazing, there are so many treasures. After entering the treasury, Xia Ping's eyes lit up. He saw boxes of pills, elixirs, gold, silver, jewelry, and so on. It was a dazzling lineup, even more than the treasury of the Windchaser bandits. He made a rough calculation. Just the treasures he saw added up to at least hundreds of billions of federal dollars. This was the foundation of the huge forces that ran amok in Western Wilderness City. They had taken root in Western Wilderness City for more than 10 years, sucking up the blood and sweat of the people to achieve such achievements. But now, these treasures all belonged to him. If Salida was still alive, he would definitely faint from anger. In order to get these treasures, he had spent a lot of effort and done a lot of heartless things. But now, this kid had easily plucked them away. If he saw this scene, he would definitely fight Xia Ping to the death. Put it all in, it's all mine. Xia Ping excitedly put all these things into his spatial ring. In just 10 minutes, he had filled all these things, basically filling up his spatial ring. Although he could not use so many elixirs, and other treasures alone, he could sell them and exchange them for federal dollars. This way, he could buy other precious treasures and improve his martial arts cultivation. Let's go. After plundering all the treasures here, Xia Ping left the place with satisfaction. When Xia Ping came out of the treasury, his heart stirred. He used his mind power to sense the surroundings. He immediately found that the elders of the Helplessness Gang had all left, seemingly escaping outside the building. Outside the building, many police officers appeared. They were distributed on all the streets, blocking the surroundings as if they were facing a great enemy. Even in the sky, battleships appeared. They surrounded the place with a murderous aura, as if they were going to surround a criminal of the century. This was normal. After all, even the deputy city lord had died in this place. This matter immediately shocked the whole of Western Wilderness City. The public security police in this place were all mobilized with the goal of capturing Xiaoping. With the headquarters of the Helplessness Gang as the center, many martial masters and even grandmasters appeared. They had mobilized many people to capture Xiaoping. Looks like it's time to find someone to help. Xiaoping touched his chin. He immediately turned on his communicator and contacted the dean of Yanwang University, Zhao Yang. Xiaoping, what do you want? Did something happen during the mission? With a snap, a virtual projection appeared. Immediately, the dean of Yanwang University, Zhao Yang, appeared. He looked at Xiaoping. Zhao Yang was the person in charge of managing the students' elite promotion missions. If any accidents happened to the students during the elite promotion mission, the students would contact him to help solve the problem. There's a problem. Xiaoping immediately told him everything that had happened. Naturally, he hid some key information, such as the many treasures he had obtained and the deliberate use of schemes, and so on. What did you say? After hearing what Xiaoping said, Dean Zhao Yang was dumbfounded. You said that the lawless sect betrayed you, and yet you personally came knocking on their door and annihilated the entire lawless sect. You even killed their backer, the deputy city lord of Western Deserted City, a Grandmaster realm expert, Sha Jie, on the spot, and are now being rounded up by the Western Deserted City police. Xiaoping's words contained too much information. Even though Zhao Yang was also an unfathomable master, he couldn't process it all at once. What did he mean by killing the powerless sect and conveniently killing a guru realm expert? Was this also something that a university student could do? Zhao Yang felt a little dumbfounded. Yes, to put it simply, Xiaoping nodded. The corner of Zhao Yang's mouth twitched. What did he mean by to put it simply? The other party had merely betrayed him, and in the end, this kid came knocking on their door and annihilated their entire sect. Even the deputy city governor, Sha Jie, was slaughtered on the spot when he stepped forward. This was too exaggerated and too brutal. He had never heard of or seen something like this before. Even someone from a ruler family would not be as arrogant and overbearing as this kid, looking down on everyone. If this kid was an ordinary student, he would have given him a slap. Who asked you to be so good at stirring up trouble? Wasn't this purely courting death? I don't care how you die. However, this kid in front of him was an unparalleled genius. Even the school elders were full of praise for him. His future was boundless, and he had already been listed as a key target of the school's grooming. He had the potential to become a Challenger Realm expert. No matter what happened, he had to protect him. Moreover, Xiaoping was indeed in the right in this matter. This so-called powerless gang actually colluded with the wind-chasing bandits and betrayed their client for a bit of profit, almost causing Xiaoping's death. This was a heinous crime. If he were in Xiaoping's shoes, he would probably flip out as well. He would even have the intention to annihilate the entire powerless gang. Thinking of this, Zhao Yang said in a low voice, "You have evidence of the powerless gang colluding with the wind-chasing bandits, right?" "Yes." Xiaoping nodded. In the treasure vault, he had also found the powerless gang's account books over the years. Among them, there were also accounts of transactions with the wind-chasing bandits. The evidence was conclusive. That's good. Zhao Yang nodded. With this evidence, no one can do anything to you. Later, you just have to insist that you knew the powerless gang colluded with the wind-chasing bandits, and that's why you took action to rid the public of evil. I do have the evidence, but this is Western Wilderness City. The people here collude with each other, and their relationships are complicated. I'm afraid they'll use torture to make me confess. Xiaoping blinked. You know fear too. Zhao Yang glanced at Xiaoping angrily. If this guy was really afraid, how could he do such a bold thing regardless of the consequences? He snorted coldly. You don't have to worry about this. The governor of Western Wilderness City, Guidong Hai, is a graduate of Yanwang University. I'll give him a call later. With him personally taking action, no one can do anything to you. Amazing. Xiaoping was full of admiration. Yanwang University was worthy of being one of the largest universities in the Cloud Realm. Its students were from all walks of life in the Cloud Realm, and all of them were martial arts elites. Once such a network was used, The power it could exert was unimaginable. Even in the remote western wilderness city, there were people from Yinhuang University. They had friends all over the world. He had finally witnessed the power of Yinhuang University. With a snap, Zhao Yang, the dean, hung up the phone after saying these words. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, a group of fully armed policemen rushed in from outside. There were even a few masters in the Master Realm. They immediately came in front of Xia Ping and completely surrounded him. Chapter 458. Xia Ping. One of the helplessness sect's elders glared at Xia Ping and bellowed furiously. Your doomsday has arrived, you fiend. You came to the helplessness sect and behaved atrociously. You even killed the helplessness sect's sect master, Deputy City Lord Sha Jie, and the others. Your crimes are unforgivable. If you know what's good for you, then surrender immediately. Many of the helplessness sect's elders were arrogant, no longer bowing and scraping in front of Xia Ping. With the West Baron City's police backing them up, they were full of confidence. The reason why they had acted so lowly before, as if they were this brat's grandson, was because they were worried that this fellow would fly into a rage on the spot and kill them. If that happened, they would have died in vain. But now it was different. The police of the Western Wilderness City had arrived here, and there were even several people in the Grandmaster realm. Even if this guy had wings, he would not be able to escape today. Furthermore, they had been entrenched in the Western Baron City for many years. Who knew how many bribes they had given to these policemen? They had long been in cahoots with each other. Wouldn't it be easy for them to deal with this outsider? Xia Ping. A middle-aged man in a green robe stood out and stared at Xia Ping. I know that you are a student of Yinhuang University and come from a prestigious clan, but you should never have dared to kill someone in Western Desolation City. Even if you have a powerful background, you still broke the law. The entire federal government will not tolerate you. He clenched his fists, revealing a murderous aura. This azure-robed middle-aged man was the Western Desolation City's police chief, Yin Dongsheng. Previously, Deputy City Lord Sha Jie was his good friend of many years. He was a companion who had gone through thick and thin with him. However, Xia Ping had activated the spaceship and killed him instantly. One could imagine how furious he was right now. He even wanted to kill Xia Ping. Whether or not it's against the law is not up to you, but the judge. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back. Call your city lord over. I want to talk to him about this. Xia Ping also knew that the azure-robed man was the Western Wasteland City's police chief, Yin Dongsheng. Before coming to the Western Wasteland City, he had already learned about the various important figures in the Western Wasteland City. As the saying goes, know yourself, know your enemy, and you will emerge victorious. Talk my ass. An elder who couldn't help scolded. What kind of person is the city lord? He has so many things to deal with every day. How could he meet a small character like you? Don't even think about it. He definitely wouldn't let Xia Ping see the city lord. Otherwise, who knew what kind of accident would happen? It was better to take advantage of the fact that everyone here was familiar with him and immediately kill him to prevent any accidents from happening. Since you're so stubborn, I'll have to do it myself. The middle-aged man in the cyan robe, Yin Dongsheng, had a sinister smile on his face. At this moment, the airship in the sky had already been controlled by the battleship of the Western Wilderness City. This brat did not have a trump card to deal with a Guru Realm expert. It could be said that he was at their mercy. Yin Dongsheng was not afraid of where this brat could jump to. But before he could do anything, a terrifying aura came from afar, shaking heaven and earth. In the sky, a spaceship appeared. Immediately, a figure jumped down from the spaceship. Like a cannonball, he fell from the sky. With a thud, he crushed the ceiling of the building. Immediately, a large hole was broken open. Dense cracks appeared on the ceiling, gravel rolled down, smoke and dust billowed, and a figure immediately appeared in front of everyone. Who are you? Many people were shocked. They didn't expect that at the moment when they were about to capture Xia Ping, someone would appear. When the smoke and dust dissipated and the figure was revealed, everyone was stunned. Lord City Lord. Seeing this figure appear, the elders were dumbfounded and shocked. How could they have expected the city lord of the Western Wilderness City, who was busy every day to come. Greetings, City Lord. The surrounding policemen, including the middle-aged man in the cyan robe, Yin Dongsheng, immediately saluted solemnly and respectfully. It was because the person who had come was the supreme ruler of the Western Wilderness City, City Lord Guodonghai. City Lord, why are you here? The middle-aged man in the cyan robe, Yin Dongsheng, felt that something was amiss. It was because this city lord usually did not deal with affairs and was often a flirt. But now he had suddenly appeared. No matter how he thought about it, it was a little unusual. Such a big thing has happened. Even Deputy City Lord Sha Jie is dead. Tell me, how can I not be here? Guodonghai smiled slightly, putting on an amiable expression. Then he turned to look at Xiaoping. This must be the Xiaoping who killed Deputy City Lord Sha Jie, as well as the sect leader and the others. Why did you kill them? What's the reason behind it? What? Hearing this, everyone present trembled. In this world, who would kill someone without a reason? It could be because of jealousy, hatred, or wealth. There were many reasons, but there was one thing that could not be denied. This kid had killed someone, and he had done it in public. The evidence was conclusive. However, City Lord Guodonghai's question clearly showed that he wanted to protect Xiaoping. Otherwise, why would he say something like that? It seemed like he was trying to clear Xiaoping of suspicion. Immediately, the elders in the cyan robe and the others felt that something was wrong. The middle-aged man in the cyan robe, Yin Dongxing's expression was very gloomy. He immediately said, City Lord, no matter what reason he has, he killed someone in public. Even Deputy City Lord Sha Jie died in his hands. He has committed a heinous crime. I think that we should capture and kill such a criminal immediately. This is to prevent such a criminal from leaving and wreaking havoc in society. That would be our fault. As soon as he finished speaking, a cold gleam flashed in his eyes. He struck out with his palm, wanting to kill Xiaoping. Immediately, a terrifying aura was brewing. It was as if the entire building was trembling. A terrifying mental strength locked onto Xiaoping. No matter where he escaped to, he could not dodge. Xiaoping did not plan to dodge. He was calm and composed. With the city lord protecting him, how could anything happen to him? Yin Dongsheng was just exasperated. He was just doing useless things. Bang! City Lord Guodonghai took a step forward and lightly struck out with his palm. A power that was like the sea surged out, immediately turning Yin Dongxing's aura into nothingness. Don't be anxious, Guodonghai said with a smile. Director Yin, don't be anxious. Everything has to be debated. As the saying goes, the more the truth is debated, the clearer it becomes. Even if this is an unforgivable criminal, we should give him a chance to explain himself. Whether it's a capital crime or a heinous crime, we can wait until we hear what he has to say. There's no hurry. You're so eager to kill him. Why do I feel that you're using your power to avenge a personal grudge? He was hiding a needle. No, City Lord. I'm not using my power to avenge a personal grudge. I'm just enforcing the law impartially. Yin Dongsheng was shocked. If he were to be accused of this, then his future would be gone. But since he wants to quibble, then this subordinate will listen to what he has to say. There was nothing he could do. With the city lord here, even if he wanted to kill this brat immediately, he would not be able to do so. Xiaoping, if you have any grievances, just say it. Guodonghai stood with his hands behind his back. With the city lord making the decision for you, it's absolutely fair. Of course, if you're really guilty, this city lord will definitely not let you off lightly. He put on a look as if he was very fair. Chapter 459. It's like this. Xiaoping said in a deep voice, I've been ordered to track the whereabouts of the Windchaser bandits. My goal is to uproot this bandit group that has been wreaking havoc for more than 10 years and slaughtering countless civilians. Previously, I received news from a certain source that the Helplessly gang is actually in cahoots with the Windchaser bandits. They've been in cahoots with each other for more than 10 years. Helplessly gang often helps them dispose of stolen goods. So, I pretended to be a playboy and took the risk to enter the impassable sect. My purpose was to lure the snake out of its hole and lure the Windchaser bandits out. Everything went smoothly. Unable gang did leak information about me, and I pretended to be captured by the Windchaser bandits. I entered their lair and successfully annihilated them. What? The surrounding people were all shocked and in disbelief. Because of the lag in news, they still did not know that the Windchaser bandits had been completely annihilated by Xiaoping. The elders of the Helplessness sect were also shocked. The Windchaser bandits were not any weaker than the Helplessness sect in terms of strength, but they were also eliminated by this kid. After eliminating the Windchaser bandits, I found evidence of them colluding with the lawless gang in their lair. Xiaoping didn't finish his words and continued. At that time, I was furious. I didn't think that this gang in Western Desolation City would have such a terrifying collusion with this gang of bandits that had been running amok for more than 10 years. The few times the federal police tried to encircle and suppress them, Unable gang leaked the information and helped the Windchaser bandits escape. At that time, I thought that Unable gang was definitely a bigger tumor than the Windchaser bandits. If we don't get rid of them, Westerbaron City will never have a peaceful day. He looked up to the sky and sighed. Bullshit. The elder who couldn't help was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. What did he mean by couldn't help but not get rid of him? Western Desolation City would never have a day of peace. He was simply too vicious. If the city lord Guodonghai really believed these words, then they would be completely screwed. Xiaoping ignored the elders who were going crazy and said, in order to prevent the higher-ups from receiving the news and flying far away, they will continue to harm their neighbors in the future. Hence, I came up with a plan. In the name of revenge, I purposely came to look for trouble. My purpose was to get rid of this scourge, Unable gang, for the sake of the people. As expected, this group of people let down their guard and fell into the trap. He looked as if he had everything under control. City Lord, don't listen to this bastard's nonsense. One of the Helplessness sect's elders was so angry that his nose was crooked. He stomped his foot on the spot. He clearly came here to seek revenge. That's why he killed our Helplessness sect's leader and many of our elites. These things are all irrefutable evidence, and the passers-by in the surroundings can testify. Why didn't they arrest such a criminal immediately, and instead let him talk nonsense here? It's really too brainless. He wanted to stop Xiaoping from continuing to speak. If he continued to speak like this, they would not be able to help and would completely collapse. Moreover, all of them would be arrested one by one and locked up for decades, or even executed. Calm down. City Lord Guodonghai waved his hand to stop the elder from jumping up and down. He said righteously, let me say a few words of fairness. This young man is called Xiaoping, and he is a student of Yanhuang University. He accepted the school's elite mission. This is a collaboration between the federal government and Yanhuang University, so his identity is temporarily a police officer. He has the right to defend himself and kill people. If it's to deal with criminals and kill criminals, then there's nothing wrong with it. Even if he goes to the federal court, this young man will be innocent. He's using his right. Bullsh asterisk T. The elders who could not help were going crazy. They wanted to punch Guodonghai's face. There was nothing more biased than this kind of words. It was clear that many of their people were killed, and there were witnesses and material evidence. Now that this kid said a bunch of nonsense, he was actually innocent. What kind of bullsh asterisk T justice was this? Could it be that the people they could not help were wronged, just like that? As expected of the city lord, you are indeed righteous, fair, and strict. You love the people like your own children. Such fair words are convincing. Xiaoping said carelessly. Guodonghai waved his hand. No, I'm just handling it impartially. I'm not biased towards you. Shameless. Seeing the two of them echo each other, as if they were performing a crosstalk, the surrounding people felt that no one in this world was more shameless than the two of them. It was obvious that they were biased, but they still said it was fair and strict. Previously, that bastard said that they were in cahoots with the wind-chasing bandits. Now this kid and the city lord were really in cahoots, and it was the kind of brazen one. The elders who could not help gritted their teeth. City lord, the green-robed middle-aged man, Yin Dongsheng, clenched his fists and shouted angrily. There's something this subordinate doesn't understand. If it's to get rid of Werbang, why didn't this kid tell us Western Barren City's police about it? Wouldn't it be better for us to deal with Werbang? Why did he take the risk alone and charge into the enemy's lair alone? Isn't that just courting death? Moreover, this kid also killed Deputy City Lord Shah J. Just this alone is an unforgivable crime. If we don't kill him, we won't be able to appease the anger of the people. I hope the city lord will reconsider. We can't let such a criminal escape and get away with it. He glared at Xiaoping. Tell Western Barren City's police? Xiaoping said disdainfully. Who doesn't know that your Western Barren City's police force is a sieve? Who knows how many forces have infiltrated your ranks? Telling you this information is the same as seeking death. You. Yin Dongxing's eyes widened in anger. The other Western Barren City's police officers lowered their heads and remained silent. They knew their place. It was true that the police force had long been infiltrated like a sieve. There was no need for them to keep secrets. They knew this very well. It was normal for this young man to not trust the Western Barren City's police force. Moreover, killing Deputy City Lord Shah J is also doing the people a favor. Xiaoping continued. He's sect leader Werbang's elder brother. He's deeply in cahoots with Werbang. Who knows how many benefits he's reaped? He's even in cahoots with the Windchaser bandits. You can say that he's the main culprit behind the chaos in Western Barren City. If he doesn't die, even the heavens won't be able to bear it. Yin Dongsheng shouted angrily, Bullsh asterisk T, who said that Shah J is in cahoots with the Windchaser bandits. Don't you dare make up lies here. Forget about Shah J and the Windchaser bandits. Even you, Western Barren City's police commissioner Yin Dongsheng, are in cahoots with the Windchaser bandits. Xiaoping stared at Yin Dongsheng and said, I went into Werbang's treasure vault and found some Werbang account books. There's evidence of you accepting bribes and providing protection to Werbang. You can't escape responsibility for this either. With a loud smack, he immediately took out a few account books and tossed them to City Lord Guodonghai. What? Not only the elder of Werbang, but even Yin Dongsheng and the other police officers' expressions changed drastically. After all of them had sh*T on them. There was no way they could escape. If a strict investigation was carried out, all of them would end up in jail. Chapter 460. Ruthless. Too ruthless. Everyone present sucked in a breath of cold air. This kind of account book was simply a deadly weapon. It had hit Yin Dongxing's vital spot in an instant. This was basically trying to kill Yin Dongsheng. Yin Dongsheng was the chief of Western Barren City's police station. His status was second only to the deputy city lord. However, in terms of power, he was even more powerful than the deputy city lord. It was not an exaggeration to say that he was extremely powerful. Now, this brat wanted to use evidence to kill Yin Dongsheng. His intentions were clear. The elders who could not help were trembling. This guy was extremely ruthless. Not only did he kill Shah J, but he was also trying to kill Yin Dongsheng, the police station chief. If this crime was proven, Yin Dongsheng would not be able to live. Being executed dozens of times would be letting him off easy. City Lord Gua. Yin Dongxing's expression was extremely grim. He exuded a murderous aura. All of this is slander. This brat must have gotten evidence from somewhere to frame me. I hope City Lord Gua doesn't believe him. If you don't believe me, you can show me this ledger. I can point out some mistakes and prove that this ledger is forged. He did not admit to Xiaoping's accusation at all. Oh, is that so? Guodonghai nodded. We'll know if it's forged or not by asking the federal government to investigate. If this evidence is fake, I won't let him off easily. Don't worry, Chief Yan. I believe in your innocence. Go home and wait for the news. I'll inform you when the investigation results are out. Inform you? The people around them had strange expressions. If the investigation was really over, Guodonghai would not be the only one coming. Instead, the entire city's police force would be mobilized to arrest Yin Dongsheng. Clearly, Guodonghai was trying to get reinforcements by saying all this. He wanted to temporarily stabilize Yin Dongsheng. Yin Dongsheng is done for. The eyes of some smart people flickered. They immediately knew from this scene that Guodonghai was trying to kill Yin Dongsheng. He was trying to kill him. That was normal. Previously, Yin Dongsheng and Deputy City Lord Sha Jie were in cahoots. They almost controlled the entire Western Baron City. Everything in Western Baron City had to listen to them. Meanwhile, Guodonghai was merely an outsider. He was sent here to be the city lord of Western Deserted City. Therefore, he did not have much control over Western Deserted City. He could not compare to Sha Jie and the others at all. As the city lord, he had no control over his own city. He had to listen to his subordinates for any personnel transfer. One could imagine how sullen Guodonghai was. However, he was also a very shrewd person. He did not flip out on the spot. Instead, he endured it and pretended to accept his fate. He tried to numb the nerves of Yin Dongsheng and the others, waiting for the moment to counterattack. Now, Sha Jie was dead, and Guodonghai had Yin Dongsheng's fatal weakness in his grasp. If Guodonghai did not seize this opportunity to kill Yin Dongsheng and seize his power, he would be an idiot. City Lord Gua. Yin Dongsheng obviously understood what Guodonghai meant. He raised his voice by an octave. I told you this evidence is fake. Don't you understand what I mean? Hand it over immediately. Search for evidence and find the culprit. This is the responsibility of the police, not the city lord. You're overstepping your authority. Do you understand? I think you should return to the city lord's manor, sort out the documents, and deal with your affairs. You shouldn't come to a place like this to stir up trouble and do nothing. There was a deep threat in his tone. He wanted Guodonghai to go back and be a puppet. Oh, so what if I don't go back? Guodonghai said with a smile. Yin Dongsheng sneered. Don't go back. Then don't blame me. I'll report to the higher-ups that City Lord Gua accidentally perished with the enemy in the process of apprehending the culprit. It's a sad story. His intention was clear. He wanted to kill Guodonghai. After all, at this point, either Guodonghai or he would die. It was time for a life-and-death struggle. If he did not kill Guodonghai today and retrieve the evidence, he would die. Therefore, he had no way out. Hearing this, the people around were shocked. They didn't expect Yin Dongsheng to be so ruthless. He even dared to kill the city lord and try to frame him. Xiaoping also praised him. Yin Dongsheng was indeed a fierce and decisive person. No wonder he could get such a position. No matter what, this was the only way for him to survive today. As long as he killed Guodonghai and sealed the mouths of the people present, he would still be the superior director with great power. You want to kill me? Maybe I haven't fought for a long time, so you misunderstood something. Not to mention you, Yin Dongsheng. Even if all the people present were tied together, I can kill them all by myself. With a bang, a terrifying aura immediately surged out of Guodonghai's body. The whole building was shaking, and the surrounding spirit chi of heaven and earth was boiling, rolling up a storm of level 7 or 8. Some weak martial artists were even suppressed by this aura. With a bang, they immediately fell to the ground, and their bones were crushed by this terrifying aura. Even powerful martial artists felt that it was difficult to move under such an aura, and their strength was weakened by half. The ground was shaken to the point that cracks appeared. Ninth Heaven of Supreme Power Realm. Feeling this aura, Yin Dongsheng couldn't help screaming, "It's impossible. When did you advance to the Ninth Heaven of Supreme Power Realm? You were only at the Fifth Heaven of Supreme Power Realm before, and your strength was almost the same as mine." He couldn't believe his eyes. His opponent's strength was far beyond his imagination. There was a difference of 4 levels, which was almost impossible to make up for. The higher the level, the greater the difference, and the more difficult it was to advance. Who told you that I'm at the 5th Heaven of Supreme Power Realm? It's just a misunderstanding, Guodonghai said lightly. Yin Dongsheng shouted, "Liar, you liar! How dare you hide your own cultivation? You have evil intentions. You have evil intentions." Before he could finish speaking, Guodonghai made a move in an instant. The aura on his body exploded, and the surrounding water vapor condensed into a substance, as if it had formed a sea, making a crashing sound. Dong! Yin Dongsheng let out a scream. His body was hit by this palm, as if he was being crushed by endless huge waves, and his whole body was smashed to the ground. With a few bangs, the floor of the top floor immediately shattered. His whole body was smashed down by this force, and he was smashed through hundreds of floors in succession. The floor was broken layer by layer, and potholes appeared. In the end, his body was slapped to the ground on the first floor by this palm, and a pit with a diameter of more than 10 meters was smashed out. The surrounding gravel was scattered, and smoke and dust were billowing. Chapter 461. The case has been exposed. Yin Dongsheng tried to assassinate the city lord, but he was killed on the spot by the city lord. Do you have any objections? Guo Donghai stood with his hands behind his back and looked at the crowd, exuding the demeanor of a grandmaster. No objections. This Yin Dongsheng dared to assassinate the city lord. He is guilty of the most heinous crime. Yes, the city lord killed him now. It is a good thing to get rid of a pest for the people. If Yin Dongsheng is not killed, the people will not be angry. He even dared to kill the city lord. What else would he not dare to do? In ancient times, this would be a great crime of rebellion. His whole family would be killed. The group of people nodded and flattered him crazily. They were all scared to death. Even the police chief, Yin Dongsheng, was killed by the city lord with one palm. He had no power to resist. How could they dare to say anything? The faces of the other Grandmaster experts who came along were also pale with fright. Their strength was even weaker than Yin Dongsheng's. Since the city lord could kill Yin Dongsheng with one palm strike, it wouldn't take much effort for him to kill them. Even if they had a good relationship with Yin Dongsheng before and were even members of the same faction, now that Yin Dongsheng was dead, how could they foolishly follow a dead man to die? It could be said that the city lord Guo Donghai killed Yin Dongsheng with one palm to scare the monkeys and shock everyone. Amazing, this is the Master Realm. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. He could feel the unparalleled power in Guo Donghai. Even the current him was no match for a master. It was said that when one reached the Master Realm, they could condense Gang Qi, and their attack power would be more than 10 times stronger. Their understanding of Qigong was already at the Master Realm. They could manipulate Gang Qi at will and transform it into various sharp weapons. Even the weapons condensed by Gang Qi were no less sharp than ordinary weapons. They were indestructible and could cut through iron like mud. It could be said that at this level, as long as the Gang Qi in the body of Master was not exhausted, even missiles could not kill them. They were incomparably tyrannical and could be called a humanoid Gundam. They could tear down buildings with their bare hands. Very good, as long as no one has any objections. Seeing this group of people submit to him, Guo Donghai felt extremely comfortable. He knew that the two leaders of Western Desolation City were dead, and without a leader, no one in Western Desolation City would be able to stop him. From now on, Western Desolation City belonged to Guo. After a period of unification and placing his trusted aides in the key positions, no one in Western Desolation City would be able to go against his orders anymore. And all of this was brought about by the young man in front of him. Guo Donghai looked at Xiaoping's eyes and felt more and more admiration. If it wasn't for this young man, he didn't know how long he would have to endure. Looks like things are already very clear. Guo Donghai said in a deep voice, "This young man, Xiaoping, is not a criminal, but a hero who has made great contributions. He single-handedly eliminated the Wind Chaser bandits, eliminating a great threat to Western Desolation City. He even dug out the malignant tumor of Western Desolation City and took the opportunity to eliminate it. He has worked hard and made great contributions. I feel that not only is he not guilty, he should also be given the title of City Hero and heavily rewarded." He gave his opinion. City Hero. The group of people was in an uproar. They were very unconvinced. If they could have the title of City Hero, then when they went to Cloud World, no, even the whole human world, they would receive extraordinary treatment. First of all, they would be able to take spaceships and public transportation without having to pay. Moreover, they would be able to buy various things at a discount. If they were to enter government office, it would be a great bonus. Ordinary people would not be able to have such a title in their lifetime. But now it was actually obtained by a young man. How could they be convinced? This kid was obviously unhappy with Wu Huai, so he came to kill people to vent his anger. How is this a heroic act? If they were to really go to trial, this kind of murder would be a felony. Not to mention the death penalty, Even a life sentence would be a light sentence. But now, in the mouth of the city lord, Guodonghai, this guy had become a hero who got rid of evil for the people. Not only was he not punished, but he was also rewarded. Was there such a logic in this world? The elders of Wu Huai were even more sullen. It could be said that Xia Ping's current glory was completely on top of their heads. His name as a hero was piled up by the corpses of Wu Huai. However, these words were spoken by the city lord. How could they dare to refute him? Did they really want to die? Now that the city lord, Guodonghai, was in the limelight, he would get rid of them without any hesitation. Yes. The city lord is right. He got rid of the Windchaser bandits and even got rid of the cancerous tumors of Western Baron City, like Yin Dongsheng and Sha Jie. His contributions cannot go unnoticed. If he were a government employee, with such contributions, even getting promoted 3 levels would be considered a light punishment. That's right. A mere city hero's reward is nothing at all. This is how it should be. Everyone present spoke against their conscience. Even though they were very indignant, they could only suck up to Wu Huai. They dared not go against the city lord, Guodonghai's words at all. No. City lord, you're too kind. Xiaoping waved his hand and looked humble. Getting rid of evil for the people is my duty as a student of Yanhuang University. This is my job. There's no merit to it. Of course, killing the Windchaser bandits and getting rid of the cancerous tumors of Western Baron City is indeed a great contribution. If the city lord insists on giving it to me, I'll have no choice but to accept it, he said carelessly. The mouths of the people around him twitched. It was their first time seeing such a shameless person. His skin was so thick that there was no end to it. City Lord Guodonghai was also a little speechless. However, he waved his hand and said, "All right, that's all for today. Move everything in the treasure vault that we can't help with immediately. Seal it up as evidence." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Some police officers saluted and immediately walked into the treasure vault. However, in less than a few minutes, they came out empty-handed again. What's going on? Didn't I tell you guys to move the things here? Guodonghai frowned. He thought that these police officers were going against his orders and causing trouble for him. One of the police officers quickly said, "City Lord, it's not that we don't want to move the things, but there's nothing inside. We've looted everything clean." What? Hearing that, the group of people was shocked. It was obvious that they could not help with the treasure vault, but there was nothing inside. Was that realistic? They could not help but turn to look at Xiaoping, because he was the first person who went in earlier. I didn't see anything either. Xiaoping spread his hands with an innocent expression. I suspect that this is a fake treasure vault. I don't even know where the real treasures are hidden by Salander. Impossible. The elders of the Helplessness Gang immediately screamed. They did not believe Xiaoping at all, because the location of his treasure vault was decided by the higher-ups of the Helplessness Gang. There were even people who had entered this treasure vault before. How could there be nothing inside? Nothing is impossible. You saw me come out empty-handed. If I found some treasure, would I be in such a state? Xiaoping said seriously. Treasures like spatial rings were things that ordinary people could not even imagine. Thus, they had no idea that Xiaoping had a spatial ring that could store so many treasures. Immediately, the group of people was speechless. This was indeed the case. They had to admit that if Xiaoping had found something, he definitely would not have come out empty-handed. This was irrefutable evidence. Perhaps Salander felt that this treasure vault was unsafe and moved the treasures in advance, City Lord Guodonghai said. City Lord Guodonghai said, "In any case, investigate carefully. You must find the hidden treasury that cannot be helped." Yes. Chapter 462. In a quiet room of the City Lord's mansion of Western Wilderness City. After dealing with Wu Feng and the others, Xiaoping was invited by the City Lord Guodonghai to practice in this quiet room as a temporary place to practice. After entering the quiet room, he immediately took a total of 13 snow lotus pills and swallowed all of them into his stomach. Clatter, Xiaoping ran the pure yang immortal incantation to quickly refine these snow lotus pills. Immediately, the energy of the 1,000-year-old snow lotus inside the snow lotus pills quickly spread out and flowed to the depths of his dantian. What a rich energy. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. These snow lotus pills were quickly refined by the flames in his body and transformed into a large amount of genuine essence, which flowed like magma in his meridians. When this energy boiled to the extreme, a shadow of the golden crow of hell appeared behind him. The whole quiet room was shaking, and flaming feathers fell down, melting the ground and making a sizzling sound. In the battle with the wind-chasing bandits, the many experts of woofing, and even the confrontation with the experts of the Master Realm, Xiaoping learned a lot of martial arts experience and tempered his body. He felt that he had grown a lot on the road of martial arts, and even the potential in his body had been further developed. Bang! 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 At this moment, the third and fourth golden crow of hell cells in his body seemed to have begun to awaken and quickly transformed into a large amount of life source energy. The color of the genuine essence in his body seemed to have become darker, and the flame of each genuine essence seemed to be more terrifying than before, faintly containing a trace of the charm of the golden crow of hell. Break through! Xiaoping sat on the ground and ran the pure yang immortal incantation to control the rapidly increasing genuine essence energy in his body. Under the effect of the majestic medicinal efficacy and the huge amount of life source energy, Xiaoping felt that his meridians were being ravaged by a flood, crazily breaking through one meridian after another. This kind of practice was like a natural phenomenon, because the original river could no longer contain any more water, so a new river had to be created. Pa! 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 Sounds of vibration came from Xiaoping's body. Under the impact of the genuine essence energy, the hidden meridians were crazily broken through, opening up a new path. 1, 2, 3. After an indeterminate amount of time, when the boundless medicinal power within his body was completely digested and his life essence energy was completely exhausted, the breakthrough finally came to an end. Peak second heaven of martial master. Xiaoping clenched his fists as he examined his own body. He realized that during this secluded meditation, he had opened 24 meridians in his body. At this moment, the two true essence whirlpools were spinning in his body. The shape of each true essence whirlpool seemed to be the shape of a golden crow of hell, as if a divine bird was living inside. The quintessence in the depths of Shao Chen's Dantian surged like lava, containing boundless energy. Once it erupted, it would possess a world-shaking destructive power. Suddenly, Xiaoping felt that the moment these two vortexes of true essence condensed, they seemed to resonate with each other. It was as if two golden crows had been born and were crying out. Crash! Vaguely, an inconceivable energy was produced. This energy vibrated in his body like a tiger's thunder, cleansing his marrow, tempering his body, and shaking his soul. Even the true essence in his body was strengthened at this moment. The boundless energy between heaven and earth was absorbed by Shao Chen's Dantian and rapidly converted into true essence. The golden sphere in the depths of his mind was also refined a little, strengthening the power of his soul. With a boom, Xiaoping's body trembled. At this moment, the 25th meridian was broken by the true essence energy. It was like a flood bursting through a dam, unstoppable. Third heaven of martial master. No way. I actually advanced to the third heaven of martial master. Xiaoping was overjoyed. Originally, he thought that reaching the peak of the second heaven of martial master was his limit. However, he did not expect that the mysterious energy produced from comprehending the cultivation method would help him break through the 25th meridian and advance to the third heaven of martial master. One had to know that this was the peak of the primary martial master realm. It was estimated that the elite students of Yanhuang University who had reached the third heaven of martial master could be considered a minor expert, an existence that had transcended the bottom rungs of society. Ordinary elite students would need at least a few years to advance to such a realm. Even elite students who had a fortuitous encounter and received a lot of training would need at least a year's time. However, Xiaoping's advancement speed was so fast that it was simply frightening. For ordinary humans, This was indeed incomparably shocking. However, for Xiaoping, who had the golden crow of Hell's bloodline, this advancement speed was just ordinary. The bloodline of divine beasts was originally completely different from that of ordinary humans. Whether it was in terms of cultivation speed or combat ability, they were above all living creatures in the world. They were born to be kings. Therefore, if he had sufficient resources, his advancement speed would be even faster. So strong, Xiaoping clenched his fists. After reaching the third heaven of martial master, he felt that his body's strength and speed had greatly increased. Even the range of his mental energies exploration had become wider. It was estimated that the area within a radius of 2 kilometers was within the exploration range of his mental energy. In this area, the buzzing of mosquitoes' wings, the dripping of dew on the lotus leaves, the crawling of ants, and even the strands of spider webs in the air, as well as the trajectories of various flying insects and beasts, were all clearly sensed by Xiaoping. Dong! Xiaoping stood up and punched into the distance. The fist energy vibrated, and the titanium alloy wall 100 meters away was immediately pierced through by the fist energy. Even the entire quiet room was shaking. The fist energy shot out in all directions, sweeping in all directions, causing dents to appear in the surrounding metal walls. Just the aftermath alone was tyrannical. Sure enough, coming out to gain experience was the right choice. If I'd stayed in school, I would never have been able to improve so quickly. Xiaoping smiled slightly. He clenched his fists, feeling that he was a lot stronger than before. Then, he looked at the smartwatch on his body and was a little surprised because the time on it showed that 3 days and 3 nights had passed. In other words, he had been in seclusion in the quiet room for a long time. With a beep, the system's voice sounded at this time. Congratulations to the host for annihilating the wind-chasing bandits and lawless gang. You have attracted a lot of hatred. Currently, the host has a total of 2 million hatred points. Please continue to work hard. 2 million hatred points? Doesn't that mean I got more than 1 million hatred points this time? It seems that this operation has caused a lot of resentment. Xiaoping touched his chin, feeling very satisfied. Chapter 463. Have you finished your closed-door training? It seems that the 3 days of closed-door training really have a great effect. You have actually been promoted to the third heaven of martial master. It's really amazing. Guodonghai's eyes were extremely sharp. Even through the virtual projection, he could feel that Xiaoping's current state was completely different from 3 days ago. He had become extremely powerful. Previously, he had talked to Zhao Yang, the dean of Yanhuang University, on the phone. He heard that this young man was an incredible genius and was even valued by the school elders. Now it seemed that it was true. Even though he was now an expert of the supreme power realm, he was extremely impressed by Xiaoping's cultivation speed. In time, this young man would easily surpass him. Indeed, I have gained something. Xiaoping didn't want to talk about these things. He asked directly, "By the way, Governor, why did you call me? Is there something important?" Guodonghai nodded. "Yes, there is something I need your help with. I don't know if you have time now." "Help? What is it?" Xiaoping asked curiously. It was a big surprise that the governor of Western Huang City actually needed his help. Guodonghai said, "You will know when you come to my study." After saying this, he hung up the phone. Xiaoping went to his guest room to take a bath, changed his clothes, and went to the study of the governor's mansion. He saw Guodonghai already waiting in the study. There was no one else around. Coming. Seeing Xiaoping arrive, Guodonghai didn't greet Xiaoping. He went straight to the point. "I don't know if you have heard of the demonic spirit mineral vein in the Western Huang Desert." "Yes." Xiaoping nodded. He had also seen this demonic spirit mineral vein in the various materials given by Yanhuang University. It is said that in ancient times, this was a huge mineral vein that contained a large number of demonic spirit stones. "That's right," Guodonghai nodded. "The so-called demonic spirit stones are a special kind of, or that the demon race often takes. It is said that they can absorb the energy in these ores to strengthen the demon power in their body. Therefore, their cultivation progress is very fast. It is far from what human beings could compare with at that time." He showed a look of emotion. Xiaoping's eyes flickered and said, "Governor, why are you saying this?" Although the demonic spirit mineral vein used to contain a large number of demonic spirit stones, this place has long become an abandoned mineral vein. There are no demonic spirit stones left. Moreover, demon spirit stones do not have much use for us humans. Although these demon spirit stones contain boundless demonic chi, it was impossible for humans to absorb it. If they were to forcefully absorb it, they would be corroded by the demonic chi and fall into cultivation deviation. Therefore, even though they knew that there was a unique or like the demon spirit stone, no one wanted to snatch it. No, no, no. I'm not looking for demon spirit stones. Guodonghai waved his hand and said, "Perhaps you don't know, but the reason why this demon spirit vein became a ruin was not because the demon clan finished harvesting it. In fact, in ancient times, this mine had experienced an earth-shattering battle. At that time, this place was devastated, and the blood of demon kings was shed. As a result, many spatial folds and wormholes have appeared in this space. No one knows which dimensional space they are connected to. Not only is it dangerous, but there are also spatial storms from time to time. What's even more shocking is that the demon kings fell one after another, and their blood stained the earth's mineral veins. As a result, endless resentment was born in this land, and many demons were born. Because of this demon spirit vein became a forbidden area for humans. The Federation government also issued a policy to prohibit some humans from going to the demon spirit vein to seek death. He revealed many secrets about the demonic spirit mine. Could it be that something happened to this demon spirit vein? Xiaoping's eyes flashed. He immediately heard the other party's hidden meaning. If it wasn't for the demon spirit vein, the other party would not have told him so much. Smart. Guodonghai faintly smiled and said, 3 months ago, there was a huge change in the demon spirit vein. The demons that appeared near the demon spirit vein disappeared. Not a single one was left. Even the demonic and demonic chi around the demon spirit vein disappeared. The situation was extremely strange. There were even people who heard heart-palpitating roars coming from the depths of the demon spirit vein. There were also traces of demon clan experts appearing in the demon spirit vein. His face was very serious. Then what do you want me to do? Xiaoping went straight to the point. Guodonghai smiled and said, "Talking to smart people really saves energy. I asked you to come here because I want you to personally go out and find out why the demon spirit vein is acting strangely. Also, why are those demon clan experts appearing in the demon spirit vein? If I don't investigate it clearly, I won't be able to eat or sleep in peace. After all, the demon spirit vein is too close to the Western Desolation City. If something happens there, I'm afraid the 30 million people in the Western Desolation City will be affected. I have to be careful." His eyes revealed a trace of cold light. "Why do you want me to go there to investigate? There are many experts in the Western Desolation City. There is no need for me to go there." Xiaoping did not understand the arrangement of this matter. There are many experts, but not many of them are useful. Guodonghai went straight to the point. Moreover, the demon spirit vein is extremely strange. It has a unique rule of heaven and earth. If a grandmaster goes there, he will immediately be eroded by the demonic chi and become a walking corpse. Only a martial master will not disturb the rule of heaven and earth and can walk freely. Although there are many martial masters in the Western Desolation City, in terms of strength, methods, and strategy, there is no one who can be compared to you. Speaking to here, he paused for a moment and looked at Xiaoping. This task does not require you to do anything. You only need to go there and investigate. After understanding the situation, you can come back. There is no need to fight to the death. You can also choose not to agree. However, if you agree and complete the task, I can make the decision to reward you with a blood dragon pill on behalf of the Western Desolation City. Blood dragon pill. Hearing this, Xiaoping's eyes revealed a trace of light. This is a pill made from the blood essence of the Demon King, the blood dragon, and 49 kinds of precious elixirs. Taking such an elixir would probably help him advance to the next level immediately. This kind of pill is too precious. It can be said to be priceless. Once it appears, it will be sold out. Even if you have the money, you may not be able to buy it. Okay, I agree, Xiaoping immediately said. Anyway, he was only going to the demon spirit vein to find some information. It was not a dangerous task. However, if he completed this task, he would be able to get the blood dragon pill. No matter how he looked at it, this was a good deal. That's great. Guodonghai was overjoyed. He then reminded, however, you must not let your guard down. This demon spirit vein is very dangerous. Demons and beasts run amok. Space is folded. If you're not careful, you may die inside. And I understand. Chapter 464. The Western Wasteland was a vast desert. It was a barren land that stretched for thousands of miles. The sun was high up in the sky, and the temperature reached 40 to 50 degrees Celsius. Even if an egg was placed in the desert, it would be cooked quickly. It was incomparably hot. This was not a place for humans to live. At this moment, a figure was running at high speed in the desert like a super sports car. Behind him, thousands of layers of sand and dust swirled up, filling the sky with yellow sand. And this person was Xiaoping from the Western Wasteland City. He was leaping in the desert with one foot lightly touching the ground. Two transparent wings sprouted from his back, manipulating the airflow. With a rumbling sound, he was like a Kuan Peng, gliding quickly in the air. Every time he glided, he could fly 1 or 2 kilometers. It was extremely fast. This is great. After leaving the Western Wasteland City and coming to this vast world, Xiaoping felt as if there were no restrictions on his body. He could use his qigong as he pleased. He continuously circulated his Kuan Peng steps, displaying this peerless movement technique to the fullest. After reaching the martial master realm, humans of this level could already control quintessence, condense air, and glide in the air. Their speed was many times faster than a martial disciple. Some people condensed quintessence in their feet and instantly exploded like a jet plane. This allowed their feet to produce a strong propulsion force, allowing them to dash hundreds of meters in an instant. Some people controlled the air and condensed the air around their feet, forming an air barrier. When humans stepped on it, it was as if they were walking in the sky. Their speed was also extremely fast. As for the Kuan Peng steps that Xiaoping cultivated, he circulated quintessence on his back, feet, and other parts of his body and condensed them into Kuan Peng wings. He controlled the air and glided in the air. This method could make use of the turbulence in the air to increase one's speed. Furthermore, it could save energy. This was an extremely brilliant technique that required precise control of quintessence. If an ordinary martial disciple wanted to control it, it would take at least 10 years. It was extremely difficult. Just at the martial master realm, he is already so powerful. It is said that when he advances to the grandmaster realm, his quintessence will transform into astral energy. At that time, his power will be more than 10 times stronger. Xiaoping was very fascinated. Once a grandmaster realm expert moves, his speed will be extremely fast. He can break through the sound barrier and rub against the air, causing his entire body to emit flames. When one attains the king realm, one can even break free from the pull of gravity. This is true flight and soaring through space. As for why a king realm expert was able to accomplish such an inconceivable feat, he still didn't know the answer for now. Because that realm seemed to have numerous secrets that ordinary martial artists were unable to know about. However, this matter is too far away from me right now. I should focus on the present. Xiaoping kept running deeper into the desert, his speed increasing. He utilized the Kuan Peng steps and controlled the airflow to glide as he leaped about. Every inch of his muscles was utilized to the limit. At this moment, he was simply like a Kuan Peng. When he reached his limit, Xiaoping felt the spiritual qi of heaven and earth crazily rushing into every pore of his body, continuously tempering his muscles, meridians, skin, blood vessels, internal organs, and other parts of his body. Even the oncoming gale, when the speed reached a certain degree, would be like a hammer, striking from all directions, tempering Xiaoping's body without any blind spots. The potential in the depths of his body was also stimulated bit by bit under this extreme exercise. It could be said that sometimes running was also a kind of arduous cultivation, and the effect of cultivation was no less than fighting to the death. Bang! After running for an unknown amount of time, Xiaoping felt that the quintessence in his body seemed to have reached a limit. The quintessence was like an ocean surging around his meridians, and the medicinal energy hidden in the depths of his body was also rapidly refined. His body trembled violently, and the 26th meridian was actually broken in that instant. A large amount of quintessence surged, and his strength and speed increased once again. I've improved again. Xiaoping's face was filled with joy. He didn't expect that just running would have such a shocking effect on cultivation. Maybe sometimes this kind of extreme training would be of great benefit to him. Just like this, he ran for a few hours, passing through the vast desert, and finally arrived at the demonic spirit vein. This is the demonic spirit vein. Xiaoping stopped and calmed his breathing, slowly recovering the exhausted quintessence in his body. However, the quintessence in his body was many times denser than that of an ordinary martial master. Just running for a few hours was not enough to completely exhaust the quintessence in his body. At most, he was panting a little. He looked into the distance and saw that at the edge of the desert, there was a huge, abandoned demonic spirit vein. Huge black stone mountains stood in front of him, and the mountain peaks stood in great numbers. This was simply an endless mountain range, covering an area of thousands of kilometers. It was as if there was a huge black beast lying in the depths of the desert, emitting an oppressive aura. At this moment, these stone mountains were riddled with holes, as if they had been excavated countless times. There were holes in them, like a beehive. These holes made whistling sounds, and a cold wind blew. It was as if there were many terrifying demons living in them. What a gloomy place! Xiaoping's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. In this huge, abandoned demonic spirit vein, he could feel the oppressive demonic aura coming from the depths of the demonic spirit vein. It contained an abyss of evil, like the sins of hell. Furthermore, these huge black stone mountains were not scattered messily in the surroundings. Instead, they were arranged in an orderly manner, distributed in different locations, forming a natural formation. Under this formation, there seemed to be a space of its own. The demonic aura within the space was restrained, and only a trace of demonic aura was emitted. Powerful! Could it be that this demonic spirit vein was set up by an expert in the ancient times? Or was it born this way? Xiaoping immediately felt the danger of this demonic spirit vein. Furthermore, when he was about to get close to the demonic spirit vein, he felt an indescribable pressure coming from the sky. It was as if someone's strength surpassed the martial master realm, they would be crushed by this formation. Stop right there. Just as Xiaoping was about to step into the demonic spirit vein, there was suddenly an angry roar coming from the front. This voice was like the roar of a war drum, shaking his heart to the point that it felt like it was going to shatter. With this sound, dozens of strange monsters appeared at the edge of the demonic spirit vein. They had the torso of a human, but the head of a tiger, the head of a black wolf, the head of a poisonous snake, etc. Demon Clan. Chapter 465. Human. A tiger demon stared at Xiaoping and shouted angrily, "What are you trying to do in the demonic spirit mineral vein? Tell me immediately, or you won't be able to leave this place alive." He was speaking the human language. Ever since the planet Yanhuang entered the cloud realm, they had fought countless battles with the demons there. The human language had also spread to the demons, and countless demons knew about it. It was like when the West invaded the New World in the Middle Ages on Earth and brought English to the world. They were beaten back again and again. Reflecting on the painful experience, in order to learn the advanced human culture and learn from each other, many Demon Clan experts also took the initiative to learn the human language and exchange what they lacked. This demonic spirit mineral vein is the territory of the Demon Clan. You humans have no right to enter. If you dare to come closer, kill without mercy. If you don't tell me your purpose, you won't be able to keep your life. The group of demons looked ferocious. Their bodies emitted a frightening demonic aura that almost condensed into a substance. All of them were demons that had reached the martial master realm and were very powerful. I received an order from the Western Wilderness City Lord to come here to investigate the demonic spirit mineral vein. It is said that there is something strange in this place. There's an unusual aura, and there are demons. Xiaoping said straightforwardly. The Lord suspects that the demon clan has a big conspiracy, so he wants to see what is going on. It is a coincidence to meet you now. Tell me immediately what happened. If any of you can provide useful information, I will reward you heavily. He said that if these demons could provide effective clues, there would be a great reward. Hearing this, the tiger demon's mouth twitched. He originally thought that he would need to torture and force them to find out the purpose of the demon spirit mineral vein. However, before he could even make a move, the other party had already spilled everything out, not leaving out a single detail. Wasn't he being too honest? Too simple and honest? Could it be that all humans were idiots like this? Moreover, he also suspected that there was something wrong with this human's IQ. Since the demon clan had a conspiracy here, how could they honestly say it? Did this human bastard think that the intelligence of the demon clan was as low as his, and that they would say it easily? Reward your balls. Before the tiger demon could think of anything, a bad-tempered wolf demon immediately cursed. Who do you think we, the demon race, are? You want us to work for you just by giving us some rewards? You're crazy. Scram immediately. If you're late, I'll kill you. He glared at Xiaoping with a murderous look. After all, he had a blood feud with humans. How could he reveal information to humans just for a little reward? Did they really think he was crazy? Human, if you know what's good for you, then scram. There's no demon conspiracy here, and nothing unusual has happened. If you dare to take another step forward, you will die a tragic death today. A group of demons cursed loudly as they stared coldly at Xiaoping. A frightening, murderous aura permeated the surroundings. Don't worry. Are you complaining that the reward isn't enough? Xiaoping said, I have a bottle of wood spirit pills on me. It's worth a lot. If any of you are willing to be a trader, I can give it to you. I can even guarantee that you can migrate to a human city and enjoy wealth. He took out a bottle of pills. A bottle of wood spirit pills. The surrounding demons were all speechless. This human was definitely an idiot. He probably hadn't seen much of the world. It was just a bottle of wood spirit pills. They were all martial master demons, and the strongest among them was a martial master at the fifth firmament. Which one of them couldn't casually obtain something like this? This human thought that they would reveal information just because he gave them some small favors. He even wanted them to be traitors. What did he think the demon clan was? Could they be bought so easily? Even a dog wouldn't wag its tail pitifully in front of the other party for a bone. You. The wolf demon's eyes were red as he glared at Xiaoping. He had never seen such an arrogant human in his life. He actually wanted them to be traitors so blatantly. He looked down on demons too much. Everyone, don't talk nonsense with this human. This human is simply a madman. Talking to him is a waste of energy. A demon shouted. Lord Scorpion said that any suspicious people who approach the demon spirit mine should be killed immediately. We must not let the news of this place leak out and attract strong enemies of the human race. Hearing these words, the faces of the surrounding demons turned serious. They no longer had any intention of relaxing. Human. The tiger demon stood up and stared at Xiaoping. I think you're not bad. Although your IQ is a bit low, you can still bring me a little fun. How about this? I'll give you two options. The first option is to be my slave. In the future, you will work for me obediently and listen to my orders. If I have something to eat, I will have something to drink. The second option is to die. Choose for yourself. He only gave Xiaoping two options. The other demons looked at Xiaoping with eyes full of mockery. The first option was to live a life worse than death. As long as he became a slave of the demon clan, he would have no freedom in this life. He could beat and kill as he pleased. Moreover, for demons, having a human slave was also a very honorable thing. This was a symbol of status, similar to a human having a spiritual pet. If one was not powerful, they would not be able to get it. As for the second option, it was simple. There was only one word, and that was to kill. It seems that you guys are unwilling to be demons. Xiaoping looked up to the sky and sighed. Originally, I wanted to give you demons a way out, but you guys didn't want it. You just want to die. Who can you blame? I guess you guys think that I'm just a third heaven of martial master and that I'm weak, so you think that you can defeat me. But let me tell you, this way of thinking is wrong. Very wrong. As soon as he finished speaking, he immediately made his move. Boom! At this moment, Xiaoping used the pure yang immortal art. His body immediately emitted a terrifying dark red flame, and the surrounding tens of meters were surrounded by this flame. With his body as the center, a unique flame aura was formed, enveloping all the demons. After reaching the third heaven of martial master, be it strength, true essence, or mental strength, he had become a lot stronger. The power that he could erupt with was also more terrifying than before. These flames exploded in the void and dripped onto the ground. They immediately burned and turned into a sky full of fire. Even the stones were ignited at this moment. And some of the demons that came into contact with these flames immediately let out shrill screams. In a breath's time, their bodies turned into huge torches, burning all over. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, the tiger demon and the other demons watched as 5 or 6 demons were burned to ashes by the flames, leaving only a pile of black skeletons. Chapter 466. What's going on? How can this human's fire qigong be so terrifying? Could be a king-level cultivation technique. Seeing Xiaoping burn dozens of monsters to death with a single move, one of the monsters was shocked. Just now, a flame descended and was about to touch his body. Fortunately, he dodged in time. Otherwise, even if he was not burned to death, he would have been seriously injured. No. How can an ordinary king-level cultivation technique be so terrifying? Indeed, an ordinary fire qigong would not have such a tyrannical power. This is too terrifying. Even a fire demon with a high-grade bloodline is only SOSO. Many of the monsters were shocked. They were stunned by Xiaoping's move. The scene of dozens of monsters being burned alive appeared in front of their eyes. They were so scared that they were speechless. Some of the demons were even trembling, completely out of their wits. It is indeed terrifying. A cold light flashed in the tiger monster's eyes. Being able to control fire true yuan to such an extent with your cultivation of level 3 martial master, you could be considered an elite among the humans. No wonder the city lord of West Desolation City sent you here to investigate. Seeing Xiaoping's move, he was a little shocked. But soon, a sinister smile appeared on his face. But no matter how powerful this qigong is, you are only a level 3 martial master. Facing the power of our demon clan's bloodline, you are nothing. Boom! As soon as he finished speaking, the tiger monster immediately attacked. He displayed the terrifying power of a level 5 martial master. Majestic demon Qi surged out of his body and soared into the sky, causing the entire ground to tremble. The muscles on his body swelled and became incomparably hard like rocks. His body also doubled in size. All the hair on his body surged out, tearing his clothes. His originally human-like palms had also turned into tiger palms. They had sharp claws, as if they were made of 1,000-year-old cold iron. They emitted a threatening cold light. You humans were only a weak race in ancient times. You created all kinds of martial arts by imitating our demon clan's attacks. This is just copying others' knowledge. When it comes to orthodox martial arts, we demons are the true grandmasters of the martial arts. You humans are just babies. Now, I'll let you, a lowly human, have a taste of the peerless martial art of my tiger demon clan. Roaring Tiger Fist. This is the real Tiger Fist. The tiger demon roared. He took a step forward, and the entire ground collapsed from his stomp. A shocking pit appeared, and cracks spread out like a spiderweb. His fist blasted out, and like the roar of a divine tiger, the energy vibrated. The terrifying demonic qi condensed into substance, and this fist contained an unstoppable might. Even a small mountain would collapse from the impact. Amazing! Upon seeing the tiger demon use that punch, Xiaoping felt his mind tremble. He had previously learned the Tiger Fist and believed that he had grasped the essence of the Tiger Fist and obtained its true form. However, when he saw the Tiger Demon's fist technique, he realized that he had only scratched the surface. The attacking techniques of these demons had been cultivated from the depths of the mountains, the wilderness, and the desolate lands. They had fought against countless savage beasts and demon beasts, bathed in fresh blood. Their every movement, every move, every technique had been thoroughly tempered, almost fused with their blood. This kind of fist art had seeped into their souls, and the power they displayed was absolutely not something that ordinary warriors could compare with. However, that was only relative to ordinary humans. Xiaoping had inherited the infernal Golden Crow's bloodline and cultivated the pure yang immortal incantation, which was a cultivation technique that surpassed the king tier. Be it physique, strength, or soul, they were all superior to ordinary humans. Even the demon race, with the highest bloodline, might not be able to compare with him. Even though this tiger demon was proficient in the essence of the Tiger Fist technique, and his demonic power had reached the fifth heaven of the martial master realm, making him unparalleled and able to collapse a small mountain with one punch, he still couldn't do anything to Xiaoping. Buddha's palm. At this moment, Xiaoping slapped out with a solemn palm. Golden light burst from his body, and a golden palm blasted out in midair. It was the Buddha's palm. As the palm smashed over, the earth trembled, and the sound of Sanskrit could be heard everywhere. It was as if the Buddha was subduing dragons and tigers. Any demon would have to submit under such a tyrannical palm force. Dong! When the palm landed on the tiger demon's fist, it was as if a giant had descended. There was a series of explosions in the air, instantly shattering the demonic power on the tiger demon's fist. Even the protective demonic aura on its body shattered inch by inch under the palm of the subduing dragons and tigers, like countless pieces of glass. This tyrannical palm force seeped into its strong body and entered its internal organs, shaking thousands of times. In an instant, it was sent flying hundreds of meters, smashing into the wall of a small mountain in the distance. With a sound, the tiger demon couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Its eyes were filled with extreme fear. It seemed like it couldn't believe that its full-powered punch had been easily blocked by this human, and even sent flying with a palm strike. It was even seriously injured, and even lost half of its combat power. This is too strong. Is this still a human? Could it be an ancient divine beast in human skin? It can't be a human. Even the elephant race, which is known for their strength, can't compare to such immense strength. The demons at the side were all dumbfounded. They couldn't believe that this human was so strong. It was just a palm strike, and even the tiger demon, who was a fifth-layer martial master, was not a match for him, heavily injured with a single palm strike. This wasn't a matter of technique. It was purely a difference in strength. The tiger demon was completely suppressed. You said that the martial arts of humans are just copying from others? Xiaoping looked at the tiger demon and looked down from above. Wrong. Let me tell you, this is a grave mistake. Although humans learn from the world and all living things, that's why they created all kinds of martial arts. However, after countless years of development, humans have long surpassed their predecessors. As for you demons, you think that your bloodline is strong, your talent is shocking, and your martial arts are amazing. It's because of this advantage that you have. For thousands of years, you haven't thought about improving. You've been stuck in a rut, and you don't know how to learn. Now, you're no longer in the mainstream. In another 1,000 years, you demons will just be a dish. He stood with his hands behind his back, emitting a tyrannical aura like a martial master, suppressing the hearts of the demons. A dish? Human, don't be too arrogant. Even if my demon race has declined, it's not something you can belittle and humiliate. The tiger demon roared crazily, its face flushed with anger. Arrogant? If I want to kill you, who can stop me? Xiaoping took a step forward and punched through the air. Even though they were hundreds of meters apart, this punch passed through the void. The fist force vibrated, and quintessential essence condensed, producing a terrifying fist force. Stop! Seeing this, the surrounding demons roared, trying to stop him. Chapter 467. Ah, human, I won't forgive you. Let's go together and kill this damned human. Tear him apart and skin him alive. Kill him. We must kill him to avenge Brother Tiger. Seeing the tiger demon killed by Xia Ping with one punch, every demon present was so angry that their lungs were about to explode. They couldn't wait to tear Xia Ping into pieces. This behavior had completely infuriated them. They wouldn't stop until he was dead. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The demons immediately attacked from all directions. Their bodies vibrated with tyrannical demonic power. They controlled the demonic wind and filled the sky with black fog as they attacked Xia Ping. Die, all of you. Seeing these demons attacking him, Xia Ping remained unfazed. He operated the pure yang immortal incantation, and his qigong vibrated. Behind him, the faint image of a golden crow of hell appeared, and a huge ball of flames burst out from his body. Nailhead, 7 arrows, skill, 3rd style, rain of flowers. After advancing to the martial master realm and cultivating the 3rd level of the Nailhead 7 arrows skill, Xia Ping had a deeper understanding of this martial art. Although this martial art was a hidden weapon cultivation technique, it didn't need hidden weapons made of steel. As long as he grabbed at the void, the air would vibrate and quintessential essence could be condensed into unique hidden weapons. This was the power of the Nailhead 7 arrows skill. Walala! The flames around Xia Ping's body suddenly vibrated strangely. Under the control of his mental strength, the flames turned into flaming lotuses. These lotuses were burning hot and intertwined layer by layer. They were incomparably sacred. When these flaming lotuses gathered together, the momentum was amazing, as if they had formed a fire cloud. This feeling, Xia Ping felt that his mental strength seemed to have turned into threads, penetrating into the depths of these flames and completely controlling this energy. It was as if at this moment, he was the flame and the flame was him. He had reached the realm of man and fire as one. In this realm, Xia Ping felt that he was in control of everything and had a feeling of omnipotence. Kill! Xia Ping immediately attacked. These flaming lotuses seemed to have a life of their own. They covered the sky and the earth and bombarded the demons in front of them. This was the saturated attack of missiles. There was no gap at all. Quick, dodge quickly. Don't touch these flames. When one of the demons saw this, his hair stood on end. A feeling of death surged in his heart. He could not help but shout, hoping that his companions would quickly hide. However, under Xia Ping's control, even if they wanted to dodge, it was already too late. Bang, bang, bang. The flaming lotuses fell with extreme accuracy, instantly hitting the bodies of these demons. With a snap, the flames immediately pierced through their bodies. The monsters let out shrill cries and tried to dodge, but they were unable to do so. The flames seemed to have a mind of their own and could move freely in midair. With a loud boom, the flames pierced through the bodies of all the monsters present. Every drop of blood and every cell in their bodies began to burn from the inside out. In just a few breaths, these demons were burned to ashes. So powerful, as expected of the head-piercing 7 arrows. Xia Ping was very satisfied. This kind of power was extraordinary. With a single strike, he had killed all these monsters, saving him a lot of energy. After using this move, he felt that his understanding of the head-piercing 7 arrows art had deepened. These are demonic cores. Xia Ping scanned with his mental energy and instantly sensed that within the piles of black ashes, there seemed to be many pearls the size of glass beads. They were dark red in color and seemed to contain pure energy. He soon understood that these were the cores of these demons. They contained the essence of their entire life and were extremely precious. With a swoosh, Xia Ping grabbed out with his hand and instantly collected tens of demonic cores, placing them into his interspatial ring. This could be considered a great harvest. Devour. Instantly, these demonic cores were swallowed into Xia Ping's stomach, entering the depths of his dantian. The sun furnace in his dantian burned, instantly burning the demonic qi within the demonic cores cleanly. In just a few breaths, the demonic chi within these demonic cores was completely purified, turning into pure energy. After that, it was converted into large amounts of true essence that flowed through his meridians. What a pure energy! Xiaoping almost moaned. After these demonic cores lost their demonic chi, they became the purest form of energy. This was the source of life and was incomparably precious. Not only did it not bring any harm to humans, it was also extremely beneficial. If he could obtain enough demonic cores, he would be able to break through consecutively and strengthen his body. However, if he wanted to directly devour demonic cores, only Xiaoping would be able to do such a thing. After forming the sun furnace in his dantian, he would be able to devour all sorts of wondrous items in the world. There were many benefits to this. This was the unique ability of the pure, young, immortal art. If I can even devour demonic cores, I wonder if I can devour the legendary demonic spirit stones as well. Xiaoping's eyes shone with a bright light as his heart stirred. If he could even devour demonic spirit stones, he would be the same as the demonic beast race. He could borrow the power of these wondrous items to increase his strength, and his cultivation speed would be countless times faster. Roar! At this instant, a series of furious roars drifted over from afar. It was as though numerous terrifying demonic beasts knew of the situation here and knew that their companions had been killed. A tyrannical aura could be felt from afar, rushing over with a frenzy. Companions? How did they discover me so quickly? Xiaoping guessed that these demonic beasts should have some unknown means of requesting for help. At the instant he killed these demonic beasts, they should have sent out a distress signal. Whoosh! Xiaoping sensed that the demonic beasts rushing over from afar were extremely powerful. Each of them had the strength of a ninth heaven martial master. Furthermore, there were many of them surrounding him from all directions. Without saying a word, he executed the Kuan Peng steps and advanced towards the depths of the demonic spirit mine, leaving this place quickly. Just after Xiaoping left, a dozen figures descended on this place. Their demonic auras soared into the sky. With a loud thud, they landed on the ground, creating a deep pit. When one of the demonic beasts saw the pile of ashes on the ground, his face turned extremely gloomy. Damn it, I'm still one step too late. They have already been killed by that damned human. Not a single one is left. His demonic aura permeated the surroundings, and he sensed that there were no living creatures in the surroundings. Not a single demonic beast had survived. Damn it, damn human. How dare he kill my clansman? I will not forgive him. My clansman just died not long ago. This human is definitely not too far away. If we catch up to him now, we might be able to kill him. If I'm not wrong, that human is probably a spy sent by Western Desolation City to find out about the abnormality of the demonic spirit mine. No matter who he is, since he dared to kill my clansman, he must die. He must die. That's right. Capture that human immediately and execute him. Chapter 468. Whoosh! Xiaoping entered the depths of the demon spirit vein. He immediately realized that the area of the demon spirit vein was too big. There were many mountains crisscrossing each other, stretching for thousands of kilometers. He couldn't even see the end of it. This place was very complicated. There were traces of mining everywhere. Some of the mountains were hollowed out, while others had countless holes and many complicated tunnels. If someone were to accidentally barge in, they would probably be trapped in a maze, never to come out again. Of course, the most terrifying thing was that there were many wormholes around the demon spirit vein. These wormholes were connected to the space outside, extending to God knows where. There was a terrifying suction force around these wormholes. If someone dared to get close, they would be sucked in immediately. If someone accidentally fell into one of these wormholes, they wouldn't even know where they would be teleported to. If they entered a vacuum space, they would die immediately. Even their hearts would be crushed to death. Legend has it that there was an earth-shattering battle in this demon spirit vein, which caused the space here to shatter. Many dimensional spaces appeared. It seems like the rumors are true. Seeing the appearance of these wormholes and the cracks on the space barrier, Xiaoping was shocked. He didn't know what kind of power could cause such a scene. Even a king tier might not be able to possess such terrifying power. What's that? Xiaoping looked ahead and immediately discovered a huge mountain that seemed to be bathed in black blood. There was actually black hair growing on the surface of the mountain, sending chills down one's spine. He could feel that countless demons were born from the blood, as if there were many demons hiding in it. If this mountain was disturbed, it would bring about endless disasters. Fortunately, this mountain seemed to be suppressed by a mysterious force in this area, forming a domain that prevented the tyrannical demons from coming out of the depths of this mountain. If not for this power, it would probably lead to a great disaster, and many lives would be lost. Indeed, this place has the blood of demon kings and the fall of demon sages. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. He felt that he couldn't touch the restriction here. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. I have to hide my aura and not be discovered by the demons in this demon spirit vein. Thinking of this, Xiaoping immediately circulated the quintessential essence in his body and infused it into the depths of the golden crow cells in his body. Immediately, the aura in his body was quickly restrained, leaving not a single drop behind. At this moment, his body's aura was like that of a stone, fusing with his surroundings without any flaws. Even a king tier would not be able to see through him. It really does have a miraculous effect. As long as I conceal my presence, I won't be discovered by the fiendish demons in the depths of the mountains, nor will I be tracked by them. Xiaoping felt that this kind of ability was extremely magical. It was many times more tyrannical than ordinary aura-concealing techniques. Once it was hidden in the depths of the cells, no one would be able to detect it. Whoosh! He continued to go deeper into the demon spirit vein, passing through mountains one after another. Among them, he also passed through several extremely dangerous mountains with tyrannical demon geniuses living in them. However, he avoided them one by one and was very careful not to alarm the monsters in the depths of the mountains. Just like this, Xiaoping ran for a day and a night and finally arrived at the center of the demon spirit vein. Such a strong demonic aura. What's going on? As he neared the center of the demon spirit vein, Xiaoping immediately felt a strong demonic aura coming from the center, shooting up into the sky. A large amount of black aura surged up, forming a huge dark cloud in the sky, covering the sky and the sun. Indistinctly, there was a demon god roaring in the sky, causing one's heart to palpitate. With a whoosh, Xiaoping's body flashed and immediately neared the area. This area was a huge open space. Hundreds and thousands of monsters appeared on the open space. Each of them emitted a strong demonic aura. They were at least at the martial master level, and a considerable number of them had reached the 9th layer of the martial master level. There were also many huge rocks on the ground, each 4 to 5 meters tall. They were carved into totems, such as tigers, leopards, lions, and so on. These stone totems were of all shapes and sizes. They were distributed in different parts of the open space, and there seemed to be grooves connecting them, forming a strange array formation. What were these demons doing? A cold light flashed in Xiaoping's eyes. The formation in front of him gave him a very bad feeling, as if it would lead to a great disaster. However, he did not know what these demons were planning by setting up a formation here. At this moment, a group of demons flew over from afar, immediately stirring up a demonic wind. They were all 9th heaven of martial masters, the elites of the elites here, the core strength. Damn it! A martial master demon landed on the ground and immediately cursed. Where is that despicable human hiding? We have searched for a day and a night, but we still can't find any trace of him. It's as if he disappeared from the face of the earth. This is like seeing a ghost. He cursed and was in a very bad mood. That's right. If this continues and this human escapes, our demon race will lose a lot of face. To let a human kill our comrade and leave unscathed, this is a great humiliation. It doesn't matter if we lose face. The problem is that we are now setting up the Sky Demon Installation Formation. If that damned human suddenly runs out and spoils our plans, all our efforts will be for naught. At that time, when young Master Scorpion blames us, we will not be able to bear the consequences. Everything we have done before will be in vain. We must find that human and get rid of this disaster. Easy for you to say. How are we going to find him? Hiding in the demon spirit vein is like looking for a needle in a haystack. Indeed, there's nothing we can do. The demon spirit vein is simply too big. Furthermore, its geographical location is very complicated. There are even some forbidden areas that we don't dare to enter. That's right. That human went deep into the demon spirit vein and found a random mountain to hide in. We won't be able to find him. A cowardly human only knows how to hide. Does he not dare to come out and fight us for 300 rounds? Many of the martial master demons clench their teeth. In order to kill Xiaoping, they searched the demon spirit vein for a day. However, they did not find any clues. Because of this, they were filled with anger. If Xiaoping appeared in front of them, they would definitely pounce on him and tear him to pieces. Only then would they be able to vent the anger in their hearts. Sky Demon Installation Formation, Scorpion 13. Xiaoping's eyes flickered. He was hiding under a black rock that was as tall as a person. His aura and breathing had fused with the rock. No matter how strong these demons were, they would not be able to discover his existence. Chapter 469. Young Master Scorpion 13 is here. Originally, the demons wanted to say something, but suddenly, one of them shouted out loudly. Boom! At that moment, a blood-colored demonic wind came from afar. A monster rode the wind and landed in the middle of the martial master monsters in an instant. He was 188 meters tall and had a strong body. He had a horn on his head and a human torso. He walked on 2 feet and had a black scorpion tail. It was covered in scales and looked like it was made of steel. It was extremely hard. There seemed to be a black poison on it. If one came into contact with it, they would immediately die. Although this monster was only a martial master at the 6th layer, the monsters present looked at him with admiration and reverence. They did not dare to be disrespectful. How's the preparation for the Sky Monster Installation Formation? Scorpion 13 landed on the ground and stood with his hands behind his back. He looked like a natural king as he spoke to the monsters around him. His tone was indifferent, but it contained an indisputable tone. Young Master, a martial master realm demon, immediately stood up. It took us 3 months, but we finally succeeded in setting up this Sky Demon Installation Formation. We just need to wait until tonight at midnight when the Yin Qi is the strongest. At that time, we can activate this formation and draw on the power of the earth and the power of the demon kings left behind by the ancient demon clan to enlighten you and increase your strength. You'll be able to reach the peak of the demon soldier realm in one go. Xiaoping's eyes flickered. He knew from Yinhuang University that there were various realms among the demon clan. There were the demon servant realm, demon soldier realm, demon general realm, and demon king realm. These realms corresponded to the martial warrior realm, martial master realm, and king realm. Obviously, these monsters were the elite demon soldiers of the demon clan. Not bad at all. Scorpion 13 was very satisfied. He nodded and said, "This time, the Sky Monster Installation Formation must succeed. I want to use this formation to reach the peak of the demon soldier realm in one go. At the same time, I want to improve my demon clan bloodline and increase my potential. This way, my chances of winning in the Sky Monster battlefield will greatly increase. I'll be able to compete with the other demon clan geniuses. At that time, my father, the Black Scorpion King, will definitely be pleased. And you guys will also receive many rewards. You'll have a meteoric rise and stand out." He clenched his fists, his eyes filled with ambition. Black Scorpion King? Xiaoping's spirit was greatly roused. He knew that the Black Scorpion King was one of the demon kings of the 72 caves. His power and influence were monstrous, and he ruled over countless great demons. There were many demon kingdoms under his rule, and he was a true big shot. Even a human alliance government would not underestimate such a person and would treat him with caution. Scorpion 13 was the son of the Black Scorpion King, so he was basically the grandson of a prince. It was no wonder that he was able to command so many monsters at the 6th level of the Martial Master Realm and even made them submit to him willingly. With such a status, there were naturally countless monsters willing to work for him. But 13th young Master Scorpion. A martial master Fiend said worriedly. Although the heavenly Fiend infusion formation is able to transfer the Fiend King energy and baleful earth energy left in this place to young Master, this energy also contains fiendish demon chi. If young Master were to absorb this energy, he would be tainted by the demonic aura. At that time, his soul would not be able to withstand it, and he would completely turn into a demon. He would no longer recognize his own kin and become a madman. Scorpion 13 was worried about this. The heavenly Fiend infusion formation was able to quickly increase the strength of the monster race. It could even increase the purity of the monster's bloodline, allowing one's aptitude to be improved and undergo a complete transformation. However, the side effects were endless. If one was not careful, the evil aura would invade one's soul and destroy one's consciousness. One would become a walking corpse, a monster that only knew how to kill. Ha! You don't have to worry about this at all. Scorpion 13 laughed loudly. To deal with this situation, I asked my father for a treasure, the calming pearl. This treasure can stabilize my soul and temporarily make me invulnerable to all evils and invincible. By then, even if the fiendish demon chi and the 1,000-year-old evil aura invade my body, they would not be able to harm me at all. Then, I can take the opportunity to devour the power of the Fiend Kings here and purify the bloodline in my body. He took out a transparent pearl from his body, which suddenly emitted waves of divine aura. It immediately calmed the souls of the monsters around him, as it possessed incredible power. The calming pearl? Isn't this one of the Black Scorpion King's supreme secret treasures? He actually bestowed it to the young master. Many monsters were shocked. They did not think that the Black Scorpion King would actually be willing to bestow this treasure to Scorpion 13. It's not a reward, but a temporary loan. Scorpion 13 was in a good mood as he corrected. However, even if it was a temporary loan, it was still an incredible honor. After all, the Black Scorpion King had many descendants, numbering in the hundreds. Yet, they had never seen him lend a treasure to any of his descendants. Only Scorpion 13 had this honor. It was easy to imagine how much he was favored. As expected of young Master Scorpion 13 to actually receive such favor from a king. It seems that in the future, he will definitely inherit the king's position and become the next Black Scorpion King. Even the calming pearl was lent out. How could there be any problems? The king's favor is evident. The young master becoming a king is just around the corner, and we will also be able to rise to the heavens and get a mouthful of the soup. Many of the monsters flattered Scorpion 13. If Scorpion 13 became king, then they, as his subordinates, would naturally obtain endless benefits. Thinking of this, they became even more loyal. The reason why Scorpion 13 took out the calming pearl was to intimidate his subordinates and not to be distracted. He lightly said, "As long as you work for me with peace of mind, the benefits you will obtain in the future will be even more than the stars in the sky." Yes, young master. The group of monsters loudly shouted, showing their loyalty. However, young master, once this Sky Devil infusion formation is activated, the 10,000 years' worth of ominous energy in this demonic spirit mine will explode, and the entire formation of the demonic spirit mine will be completely destroyed. A martial master realm monster said in a deep voice, "At that time, the demons sealed in this mine will swarm out, and the people within a 10,000-mile radius will be plunged into misery and suffering. We have to be careful." He knew the consequences of activating the Sky Devil infusion formation. It would cause the terrain to change, and the demons here would be completely freed. The consequences would be unimaginable. What does that have to do with me? Scorpion 13 coldly laughed. There are no demonic spirit kingdoms nearby, only a few human cities. Even if those demons take the opportunity to wreak havoc, they will only kill humans. He did not agree. Indeed, it will only be humans that will die. TSK, those humans probably never thought that they would face a calamity in their sleep. When these demons come out, a country will be destroyed. This time, the human cities nearby will be doomed. At least tens of millions of people will die, and blood will flow like a river. Hee, this can be considered as the interest paid by the humans. For young master to achieve great things, isn't it only right for the humans to pay a little price? The ones who die are humans. What does that have to do with us demons? Chapter 470. Ruthless enough. Hearing the discussion of these demons, Xiaoping's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. As the saying goes, humans don't want to harm the tiger, but the tiger wants to eat humans. If this group of demons really activated this formation and destroyed the formation of the demon spirit vein, provoking the demons deep within the vein to come out, then the 30 million people of Western Desolation City would die. However, this kind of method was very normal for demons. After all, they were not of the same race. How could they feel heartache when there were casualties? But young master, this was a martial master demon. He said in a deep voice, "Just now, a human broke through our defense and killed many of our companions. I reckon that he has already entered deep into the demon spirit vein. We are temporarily unable to track his whereabouts. If he knows about this sky demon installation formation, I'm afraid he will harm us and ruin our plan." He reminded Scorpion 13 of this unstable factor. That's right, this human is a problem. Previously, Western Desolation City had sent some experts over, but they were all killed by us. The news has been sealed very tightly. Indeed, I originally thought that this would be foolproof, but I never thought that the human would be so powerful. He killed so many of our companions and escaped. Damn it! If we let this human escape, he will leak the news and attract powerful human enemies. Then, our plan will probably be ruined. Young master, you must find that damn human and avenge our companions. Many demons clenched their fists. Their expressions were filled with anger and killing intent. I already know about this matter. There's no need to worry. Scorpion 13 coldly laughed. Tonight, our plan will be completed. No matter how powerful that human is, he won't have the time to leak the news and mobilize the human experts of Western Desolation City to the demon spirit vein. Moreover, once the sky demon installation formation is activated, it will attract the endless evil energy and demonic energy. It will spread for thousands of miles and cover the sky. At that time, even if he has wings, he won't be able to escape. He's just a dead man. His eyes were filled with disdain. He did not put Xiaoping in his eyes at all. The other demons could not help but nod their heads. That was indeed the case. No matter how powerful the human's concealment ability was, hiding in the depths of the demon spirit vein, they would not be able to find him. However, once the sky demon installation formation is activated, the endless evil energy will erupt. He will not be able to escape. In an instant, the evil energy will invade his body and destroy his soul, turning him into a walking corpse. Anyway, Scorpion Sure-san waved his hand. Hurry up and finish setting up the formation. We'll activate the Sky Demon Infusion formation tonight. The faster we finish, the faster we can kill that human. Yes, young master. The group of demons shouted and immediately accepted the order. You want to kill me? Hearing these words, Xiaoping's eyes flashed with a cold light. What a bunch of demons that refuse to give up. If I don't kill them until they are afraid, they won't know what fear is. An eerie killing intent surged in his heart. Scorpion 13 is the descendant of the Black Scorpion King, one of the 72 Fiend Kings of the Fiend race. He even gave Scorpion 13 a precious artifact. He probably dotes on this kid a lot. Xiaoping rubbed his chin. If he dies in this place, or if this group of demons is completely annihilated here, I'm afraid it will completely enrage the Black Scorpion King. Thinking up to this point, Sherfone could not help but feel a rush of excitement. If he could eliminate Scorpion 13 in this place, not only would he be able to complete the quest and save Western Wilderness City from danger, but he would also be able to gain a large amount of hatred. This was simply killing two birds with one stone. Scorpion 13 wanted to kill him, but how could he not want to destroy this group of monsters? System, is there any way to crack the Sky Monster installation array? Xiaoping's heart moved and immediately asked. The secret method to crack the Sky Monster installation array is extremely precious and requires 2 million hatred points. The system replied. What? How can it be so much? Xiaoping was speechless. He did not expect that just a method to crack it would cost so much. The price of knowledge is expensive, especially the knowledge of arrays. Its value is even more amazing. The system said, some people can't learn it even if they exhaust their wealth and put in all their effort. After listening to this, Xiaoping also had no choice. He knew that there was no way to bargain with the system. The price was so high, and it was impossible to reduce it by even a cent. After thinking for a moment, he decided to exchange for it. After all, spending 2 million hatred points will be able to kill Scorpion 13 and the other demons. If he angered the Black Scorpion King and other great demons, he would definitely gain a lot of hatred points. It could be said that this was a profitable business, and there was no reason not to do it. Exchange, Xiaoping immediately said. Walala, immediately, a large amount of information was instilled into Xiaoping's mind. The nodes of this Sky Monster installation array, as well as the specific information about the array, were all completely grasped by him. So that's how it is. Xiaoping suddenly realized that the way to crack the Sky Monster installation array was very simple. At midnight, when this group of demons was about to activate the array, when the evil aura of the array was at its strongest, one of the key nodes would be destroyed in an instant. Then the entire array would collapse, just like building blocks. If a piece of wood was removed, it would all collapse. Although the method was very simple, without the knowledge of the system, it was estimated that even if he broke his head, he would not know where the node of this array was. Host, I must remind you of one thing. The system said, once the Sky Monster installation array is destroyed, then the infinite evil aura absorbed by this array will erupt in an instant. Such power is earth-shattering, no less than a nuclear bomb explosion. If you don't dodge in time, I'm afraid you will perish together with them. It reminded Xiaoping of the risks of this approach. It's okay. Xiaoping had already thought of this outcome. He had a treasure like the interspatial ring on him. This treasure could even store living people, and it was extremely hard. Even a nuclear explosion would not be able to destroy it. As long as he hid inside the interspatial ring, then the instant the array exploded, the interspatial ring would resist it. The explosive energy would not be able to harm him at all. Time passed very quickly. In the blink of an eye, several hours had passed. It was midnight. The sky was dark, and dark clouds covered the moon. It was gloomy, without any light. The north wind whistled, and the cold wind blew. Hundreds and thousands of demons were distributed in the center of the demon's spirit mine, and the entire array was completed. The demon totems were placed at the key nodes, and they resonated with each other. With a boom, the entire array shook. Red lines appeared between the nodes, forming a complex array diagram. It faintly resonated with the evil aura of heaven and earth. It was as if at this moment, the endless evil aura and demonic aura of the demon's spirit mine had gathered in the center of the array. It's time. Chapter 471. Sky Monster Infusion Formation, activate. At this moment, Scorpion 13 stood in the center of the formation. He operated the demonic energy in his body and threw out the demonic spirit stones on his body, placing them in the center of the formation. With a bang, the demonic spirit stones were immediately refined by the evil chi from the formation, turning into balls of extremely pure energy. The entire formation began to tremble. Walala, the huge totems shook. Every single pattern on the totems seemed to emit a golden light. These golden lights interweaved together and formed a complicated and mysterious formation. Above the sky, a huge black pillar of light descended. It was as if countless mysterious energy gathered in the center from all directions and poured into the formation. Some of the demonic king's bloodline and some pure energy left in the demonic spirit mine were also attracted by the formation. They all rushed over and gathered in the center of the formation. Success! The Sky Monster Infusion Formation is about to be completed. After preparing for so many years and spending so many resources, is all worth it. As long as the young master receives the demonic king's energy here, he will be able to purify the demonic king's bloodline by 1,000 times. His talent will be comparable to the descendants of divine beasts. At that time, becoming a demonic king is a sure thing. When a demon achieves the Tao, even the chickens and dogs will ascend to heaven. We're going to be rich too. Many demons were extremely happy. They could not help but clench their fists. They were very excited. If Scorpion 13 could succeed, then they would also obtain endless benefits in the future. Come quickly. As long as I succeed this time, my talent will increase by countless times. In the future, I will definitely become the Black Scorpion King and inherit the Black Scorpion Cave. Even if I become a master of the 1,000 Monster Mountain in the future and rule over thousands of monsters, there will still be a glimmer of hope. Scorpion 13 clenched his fists. His eyes were filled with excitement. Even though he was very shrewd, he still could not hide his emotions when he was so close to success. After all, this was an opportunity that could change his fate. How could he be indifferent? Bang! At this moment, a huge rock in the distance exploded into pieces. At the same time, a tyrannical aura burst out. The entire area was shaking. A figure flew out from the rock. It was Xiaoping. At the moment when the formation was about to be activated, he finally found an opportunity and made his move. Human. It's the human that killed dozens of our companions at the edge of the demon's spirit vein. A demon immediately shouted. He sensed that the aura coming from a figure was identical to the aura left behind at the murder scene. Therefore, he recognized it immediately. What? Many of the demons were alarmed. They never expected that the human who they had scared into hiding would appear at this moment. Furthermore, it was at the instant when the Sky Demon Installation Array was about to be activated. It has to be said that this is the weakest moment for the Sky Demon Infusion Array. This array is operating at full power, absorbing the ominous aura and the power of the Demon King's bloodline. Its defense is extremely weak. If someone were to attack at this moment, the formation would definitely collapse, and the consequences would be unthinkable. Kill him. Kill him now. Don't let him destroy this formation. Scorpion 13 roared. His face was flushed, and he was unprecedentedly anxious. It has to be said that in order to successfully build this formation, he paid a huge price. He used all of his life savings and even borrowed a lot of money. However, he was not worried at all, because if he succeeded, he would become a demon among demons. Any demon would have to look up to him, so this little price was nothing. However, if he failed, the consequences would be unimaginable. First, he would owe a lot of money, and he would not be able to pay it back even after hundreds of years. Worst of all, he would disappoint his father, and he would be banished to the Cold Palace. He would have no hope of making a comeback in this lifetime, and his future would be ruined. One could imagine how anxious and angry he was at Xiaoping's sudden appearance. He simply wished that he could go back in time and kill this human who wanted to ruin his plans. It's too late. Xiaoping's eyes revealed a hint of coldness. He grabbed a rock in his hand and wrapped his entire body with true essence. Standing on the ground, a tyrannical aura rose up, causing the ground to crack and tremble. First move of the 7 arrows art, piercing heart and bone. Immediately, the power in his body spread from his feet, waist, arms, elbows, and fingers. A power like a dragon was transmitted inch by inch, causing the air to explode. Bang! At this moment, this power exploded. It was almost the peak of Xiaoping's current power. The rock flew out and spun violently in the air, causing the air to tremble. Because it was too fast, it had already broken through the sound barrier. It was surrounded by a terrifying flame, which was extremely dazzling in the dark space, causing people's hearts to palpitate. Stop right now. Scorpion 13's eyes were wide open as he roared. The nearby Martial Master Realm demons were burning with anxiety. They rushed out, trying to stop the rock. They could not let this human ruin their plan. However, it was useless. The rock contained a tyrannical, true essence. It was invincible, and it was not something that these Martial Master Realm demons could resist. With a bang, The rock pierced through the bodies of 2 or 3 demons, shattering their hearts and splitting them into pieces. Blood sprayed out with a poochy sound. Ugh, ugh, they widened their eyes, as if they could not believe that they had been killed so easily. However, this was not the end. After piercing through the bodies of 3 demons, the rock arrived at a scorpion-shaped rock totem. This totem was the core node of the Sky Demon installation formation. With a bang, the rock totem was immediately blown apart by the true essence power carried by the rock. Like a bomb, it exploded with a terrifying impact and shattered into countless rock fragments. It's over. It's completely over. The surrounding demons were all stunned, completely stunned. They felt their minds go blank, and they could not think at all. They knew that if this node was destroyed, it would bring about serious consequences. Originally, the boundless evil chi was gathered in the center of the formation. However, if the formation was destroyed, the evil chi would have nowhere to vent, and it would instantly cause an earth-shattering explosion. No one could survive such an explosion. Bastard! Scorpion 13 roared towards the sky. You destroyed my foundation. You destroyed my future. I will not forgive you. I will not forgive you. Tears of blood even flowed out of his eyes. Demonic power erupted from his body, and a huge crater was created by his feet. What does it have to do with me? Xiaoping could not be bothered with Scorpion 13's roar of despair. He felt that there seemed to be countless energies colliding in the center of the formation. A terrifying, destructive aura spread out, as if a nuclear bomb was about to explode. Whoosh! Chapter 472. The moment Xiaoping hid in the interspatial ring, the formation immediately collapsed. A huge mass of energy gathered in the center of the formation. The chi of heaven and earth vibrated for millions of times and suddenly exploded. Rumble. Everything within 50 kilometers was affected by this terrifying energy. Ripples that could be seen with the naked eye spread out from the center of the formation and quickly spread in all directions. The destructive power of this energy fluctuation was too shocking. Everywhere it went, it destroyed everything. Many stone mountains collapsed under this terrifying energy and were razed to the ground. The soil was sent flying for dozens of kilometers. The ground collapsed for thousands of meters, and a huge black pit appeared. Tens of thousands of cracks appeared and extended for several kilometers, forming a spiderweb-like pattern. This fluctuation was like an earthquake with a magnitude of more than 10. Not only did it cause the entire demon spirit mine to tremble, but it also affected thousands of kilometers. Even Western Huang City could feel a slight tremor. As for those Martial Master Realm monsters, they didn't even have the chance to struggle or cry for help. They were instantly affected by this energy and turned into powder. In the sky, a huge mushroom cloud appeared. The terrifying fluctuation soared into the sky and completely broke through the dark clouds in the sky. The endless killing intent instantly dissipated. The center of the formation also produced a terrifying heat. The heat was so shocking that it even crystallized the gravel. Some of the rocks and soil were burned into magma. The air was filled with the smell of burning. After a full half an hour, the explosion finally stopped, and the black smoke and dust also drifted away with the airflow, returning to the previous calm. Is it already over? Xiaoping hid in the interspatial ring. He used his mental strength to sense the situation outside. With the protection of the interspatial ring, the terrifying energy outside could not invade. However, he also knew how terrifying this kind of explosion was. He estimated that even a Grandmaster Realm expert would be instantly killed and vaporized. Fortunately, the interspatial ring was deeply embedded in the soil, so it was not blown to any dangerous place. It was still not far from the formation, so it could be considered lucky. He sensed that there was no danger outside. With a swoosh, his figure flashed, and he immediately came out of the interspatial ring. How tragic! Xiaoping looked around and clicked his tongue in admiration. He was also shocked by the power of the explosion just now. Originally, there were many stone mountains around this place, but now they were all razed to the ground. turning into a plain with a radius of 100 miles. The ground was also scorched black, and there was a large amount of red magma flowing in the center. Apart from the lack of radiation, this power was no different from nuclear bomb. If not for the protection of the spatial ring, he would have died without a doubt. Are all the demons dead? Xiaoping looked around and did not see a single demon. They had all vanished without a trace. Not even their corpses could be seen. It was estimated that all of them had died in the explosion just now. Even their corpses were instantly vaporized by the terrifying heat and disappeared from the world. Shio! Just at this moment, a sharp black gust of wind suddenly came from afar. It was incomparably terrifying, tearing through the air. It was even faster than a sniper bullet and contained a terrifying killing intent. Kuan-Peng's step. Xiaoping instinctively used this footwork technique. A pair of transparent wings formed on his back, and his feet lightly moved to the side. In an instant, he had moved tens of meters away, dodging this attack. With a dong sound, this gust of wind attacked into the distance, instantly tearing the ground in front of it in half, revealing a deep ravine. Moreover, this black gale contained a deadly poison, causing the ground to emit a black liquid that continuously rolled and bubbled. The air was filled with a terrible stench that made people shiver. Xiaoping squinted his eyes and immediately looked into the distance. He saw more than 10 demons appear. Their bodies seemed to be wrapped in a ball of golden energy, but it had dimmed quite a bit. It was as if their energy had been exhausted and they were about to disappear. The person who had launched a sneak attack on him was the boss of this group of demons, Scorpion Shursan. The demons standing beside him were all Scorpion Shursan's trusted subordinates. All of them were at the 9th heaven of the martial master realm. However, now that they had been attacked by the self-detonation of the formation, they were all severely injured. Numerous bloody scars appeared on the surface of their bodies. Their internal organs were all severely injured. Some of them lost an arm, some lost a leg, and some even had a bloody hole in their chest. Although he did not know how they had avoided the explosion that would have killed them, it was clear that even if they were still alive, they had suffered extremely serious injuries. They had less than 10% of their original strength, at most equivalent to the 5th heaven of the martial master realm. Human! Scorpion Shursan glared at Xiaoping and shouted angrily, "You actually dared to launch a sneak attack on me, Scorpion Shursan. You're too bold. If I don't kill you today, I, Scorpion Shursan, swear not to be a demon." He was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. In order to build the Sky Demon Infusion formation, who knew how much energy, how much resources, and how much time he had wasted, it could be said that he had spent all his fortune and all his effort. But now, it had been completely destroyed by this human in front of him with just a stone. Even 99% of the 1,000 subordinates he had brought with him had died. If it wasn't for the fact that he had a one-time used defensive treasure on him that could withstand an attack at the level of a nuclear bomb, even he would have died in that earth-shattering explosion. One could imagine how much he hated Xiaoping right now. Even the waters of 3 rivers could not wash it away. He wanted nothing more than to exterminate Xiaoping's entire family. Swear not to be a demon? Then all of you can die. As soon as he finished speaking, Xiaoping immediately attacked. With a snap, he took out the Hell Spear from his spatial ring. In the blink of an eye, he stabbed the spear towards Scorpion Shursan and the other demons. Immediately, the weather changed. The spear was imbued with the majestic true essence in Xiaoping's body. A tyrannical force surged out, like the aura of hell, tearing everything apart. Nothing in the world could stop it. It was incomparably sharp. In the void, there seemed to be the painful howls of demons, ghosts wailing, and wolves howling. What? Scorpion Shursan and the other demons did not expect this human to be so despicable. He simply wanted to take their lives while they were sick. He was shameless to the extreme and did not care about morality. He did not waste a word with them and directly attacked to kill them. He was so cruel that it was a complete mess. Bang! The 2 or 3 demons in front tried to attack. They punched out and exploded their demonic power, wanting to block the Hell Spear. However, they could not stop it. The Hell's Spear exploded with a sharp aura that even the outer shell of the battleship could not withstand. The titanium alloy was easily cut through like tofu. How could they, the demons, block it? With a bang, the bodies of the three martial master demons were immediately pierced by the phantom of the spear. A bloody hole appeared in their chests, as if they had been nailed in midair.